Henry, can you guys hear me?
We're live now. Yeah, we can hear you live.
Okay. Uh, Tell me to make sure we on the Across Africa page too. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Say, Allah, eh. Day, everybody.
Yeah, TV getting us?
Some people know
Yes.
like peace.
Yeah, so what happened with Donya very shortly? We got another program on the radio already.
Crime rates on the increase.
Well, we're not expecting closing argument
Government
today.
can protect the people.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, so it
No
came as an
justice
emergency.
for the poor. Yeah. Look the way we're living. We're treating one another unfair. Look the way we're living. We're treating one another unfair. Yeah. What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? The hope for the future. Yeah. We have everything in abundance.
So we'll be joining you very shortly. Very shortly.
We pray, asking the Lord for another Moses. Cause all we have is Pharaohs. Yeah. In our suffering, it's what they're making business of. Yeah. The rich get richer and the poor people suffer. Them promise say, them bring development and better education. Our lands are fertile, no food on the land. Our children, we're pushing into begging. Look the way we're living, we're treating one another unfair. Look the way we're living, we're treating one another unfair. What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? The hope for the future. Our forefathers were taken into slavery, but in a modern time like this, we're children and slaves. We're fighting a war not with guns and bullets. The enemies I see are my brothers and my sisters. We're diggers of graves while we're still living. Don't judge a book by its covers. Looks can be deceiving. Whenever the sun shines, must come a rain. Who will come and take away the pain? Look the way we're living, we're treating one another unfair. Look the way we're living, we're treating one another unfair. Yeah. What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? The hope for the future. Yeah. What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? The hope for the future. Yeah.
Hey guys, what a noise in the background. So,
Great.
yeah, guys, man, it's good to be back on the closing argument. Today is Tuesday, May 28th, 2024. We have lots of news today trending in the country. We had to have this show today because of development on the issue about the
The yellow machine.
yellow
Say it.
machine.
Okay.
Yes, during the cabinet retreat last week, Minister still with our portfolio, Mama Ability announced and even did a video video demonstration that about yellow machines that are coming to the country, 285, and she said that 19 of these machines will be going to each county. And while it was a welcoming news, I mean, I was excited because we want Liberia to develop. We believe in Liberia. We want for the country to develop. We want to see our roads maintained, our network We'll be able to travel to various counties within the maximum time and everything. We're all excited, but then again, uh, people decided not to find out. Okay, these are all good news, but we know they're saying that there's no free lunch, and who will be giving us all of these machines and for what? For what the reason? So people start to ask questions. The question were legitimate, but again, as usual, the politics came into it, and the supporters of the rescue government decided to defend it and said, make excuses as such as like some Liberians don't want development in the country and accusing their fellow compatriots of undermining development. But what they fail to realize is that all of these things they are process that people have to go through to get these things done. And we have a constitution that states that anything above $10 billion, I think $10 billion, you need legislative ratification and so forth. So, but if a single cabinet minister, who's just the minister of portfolio, not even the National Investment Commission chairman, comes and announces to the cabinet and to the country that they will bring in 285 pieces of earth-moving machine, definitely people need to raise questions and ask questions about it. And just in line, the next thing we saw happen, the UP folks got on the rampage, started to defend, and it got very, very personal. In fact, some senators were defending it and defending it. But today, after all the public pressure and outcry, the president instructed that there was no deal and they should investigate the whole process. And today, the Minister of Information, Jeremy Pia, announced that there was no deal in place, and that the machine was something that was the government trying to bring in the country. That's what they want to do. Everybody, they got to spin it now. After all the public outcry, they got to do the spinning. That's politics. They have in a government, they will do the spinning part. So now, this is where we are. And I'm sure all the panelists today, they have a lot of questions. They have been doing their own due diligence, they have been digging deeper, trying to get to the bottom of this. And definitely you will hear from them. They are here tonight, and they're going to come and tell you. And besides that, we have Professor Kennedy will help us tonight to tell us the reasons why it is good to ask these questions, because some people, this can lead to people getting in trouble. Don't forget, our traditional partners in the United States, they monitor our country like they treat us like the baby. So they're going to follow everything that's happening. And if they find out that you are involved in shady loans, definitely they're going to raise a red flag and they're going to come after you. That's why people are concerned. But Lofa, you guys who all been for the last 96 hours, this thing being going around social media all over the public. You can come in now and tell us what's going on. What you hearing? What you end? What's going on right now? Lofa frozen again? Oh my God. No, you're frozen again. But while Lofa is frozen, until he can get situated, let me continue. But on a sad note, before I continue the show, I don't know, my people. This war is coming to end. One of my dear friend, a brother from all of us who live in the New England area, Calvin Dewey, today passed away. He was just at his daughter's high school graduation on Saturday. I got up this morning, and the first news I heard was we lost comrade Calvin Dewey in Massachusetts. And I'm on thoughts and prayers with his family. He talks so much about his daughters, we all have daughters, and he's one of those who is a strong father. And Calvin, a year or so ago, he was not too well, but he beat that battle and came back. He was on his feet. In fact, he poked me. He always poke him. We do the pokes, He poked me, I think, a few days ago. And then on Saturday, his daughter that he loved and cherished. It's hard to talk. Many of the friends now, most of the friends, you look on social media, on the Vera pages. They are all in shock because what makes it more shocking is that we lost another friend, Sam Brown, in Rhode Island 2 weeks ago. And we were thinking about discussing about burying Sam. And then this morning we heard about Calvin. And it's very hard, very hard for us. And keep the family in prayers. Keep all the friends and all the young people that's affiliated with Calvin in your prayers. It's a hard thing. A few months ago, we lost our friend Henry Dubai Jr. Bello, and we just lost Sam Brown. Then this morning we lost Calvin Dewey. It's very, very, very shocking, and it's something that was an irreparable loss. And he's with other words, we're still in shock about Calvin passing. But I just want to actually keep us in prayers, all of us, the family, the friends, and his daughters, especially the young daughters that he cherished so much. Perhaps later on, I will invite Melvin Howard. He'll come and talk more about Calvin later on in the end of the show. But in the meantime, Lofa, I was just talking to you about the decision of the machines. You can weigh in right now as well for the other guys.
I know I came in at the tail end of your statement about being bereaved, and I just extend my condolence to the family and friends of the deceased. Hope everybody can just keep you all in our prayers. And by the way, it's great to be on here today, guys. As part of our custom here, just do due diligence, share the podcast. The YouTube link is already on here for those of you who prefer to follow us on YouTube. Those of you that are following on the Facebook page, we also do appreciate you. But just do us a favor, share the live podcast, continue to share, invite other people to be a part of the conversation, because we can only do so much. But with you having to do your part, it makes it easier for the message to get across. That's part of your responsibility, and that's what is expected. So wherever you may be following us from, we want to welcome you all to this special edition of the closing argument. And it's great to be on here today again, doing the people's job. Tomalin hit on quite a few things about this yellow machine, but I'm going to start off my view on this whole issue of the yellow machine this way. The level of inconsistency with this government, I'm not surprised that the president is pulling back the plug. If you were to do a little assessment of his inconsistency with decisions that are made, the most recent one, and we will get into the yellow machine part of the conversation, but if you were to just critique his appointments, you will realize that how many times he appointed people and he pulled them back. So to see that this whole yellow machine idea is being pulled back, I'm not surprised. But what I'm more concerned about is the fact that these are people who sat on the fence. These are people who were part of the opposition bloc, and they oppose the whole Obama and Elton deal. That was a huge conversation around here. And back then, it was the CDC-led government, President Weah in the forefront. And all of the categorization was done. They were stigmatized as being a bunch of hooligans trying to steal from Liberians, bringing BM, and all of these things. Now to come to where we are, to see that these very individuals who oppose this very idea of having to conduct clandestine deals without, and anything that is considered clandestine is when you refuse to follow proper process and procedure. That to some extent could be considered clandestine, because we don't know how you're going about to get it. We don't know whether Lofa Mountain could be the collateral for all of these things that you're bringing. So should we be concerned about that? What process may have been followed for the acquisition of all of these things? Okay, I'm pretty sure when it comes to procurement, there are processes that should be followed. where the process follow the procedures that Liberians are aware of. We can't simply say, I said yesterday on one of my posts, Tomalin, and then I will stop to get the other guys to come in, and hopefully later I will, elaborate. But this is where I come in with this. We can't simply say because we want to get married, so any woman that comes your way, you should just grab her and run with her. Not because we say we want development, so these guys can just push anything down our throats. We should definitely not buy into this thing here. Let the process flow. Let the people tell us. Today we are also hearing, and I'll close on this note, we are hearing that people are giving our contracts. People are giving our contracts without having to go through the proper process. And they're going back in line to the Senate. And I hope that we can speak to these things here. Because if we don't follow the proper process and we simply get it done, we are doing it at our own detriment. Because Honorable Boykai will leave us, but our kids will have to take the debt of whatever they're going to have to do. So I'm still concerned about this. And I think we have a video that we'll have to play, and then we can kind of analyze the video and compare to what is being said as compared to what we heard previously. Previously, we heard that the purchase was made. Now we're hearing that it was being negotiated. All of a sudden, we're hearing now something completely different. But I will land on this part for now and let the rest of the other guys see. Kalibos here, Toga's also here. So let the guys chime in, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, let me as we bring Toga in. Toga, before you come in, let me say this. At the administration's first cabinet retreat in Monrovia last week, the Minister of State with our portfolio, Mamaka Ability, announced that equipment, including yellow machines and trucks, had already been turned over and were en route to Liberia, prompting thunderous applause.
There you go.
A video released by the government showed dozens of earth-moving machines emblazoned with President Boyka's photos and the Liberian flag, captioned handover ceremony, Presidential Infrastructure Program, President Joseph Boyka. The announcement sparked concerns among the public and key figures of the United Party Alliance, questioning the arrangement under which these machines were acquired. Now, here's why we need to come in. However, speaking for the first time since the announcement, Information Minister Jeremiah Pierre fumbled in his response in stating that no deal has been made. Now, he said, and I quote, "Government did not decide and has not made a decision on the earth-moving equipment. There was only a video that came out unveiling the vehicles that the government is looking at, but has not decided to have yellow machines. And once it is concluded, that will be announced," he said. So, Toga, you're a journalist, and I mean, it's not. Toga, what happened to your face? You can see your face like something black in it.
Me, yeah?
Yeah, I know that light.
No, it's because of the
Yes, I think it's
the
the
background.
I think it's the
background
I think it's
using
the app I'm using or so. You know, I'm still trying to adjust to all of this.
Okay.
So once I'm completely
I was saying-
adjusted, things will work up a
But
little.
I think you should move that background or to.
Yeah, just remove the background because your lightning is not good enough.
I mean, if you are in except you are in a dark place, but I mean, just let everything be plain like this. You know.
Now,
Yeah, if you stop the background, you'll be
Okay,
perfect.
so let me see what I can do that adjustment. Timberlake,
Yeah,
now
just
ready?
remove the background.
Well,
Like, once you have a better light.
well,
But go ahead.
Oh, wait for it. Let me go to Kelabo. Kelabo, I just read exactly the government. You all been following this.
So you don't need to. You don't need to repeat. You don't need to repeat yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I will say to you. You know, I will just reflect on where we were a few weeks ago. You know, on the road building equipment issue, I think the government, the Bwaka Kum administration hands were caught in the cookie jar publicly, and they're trying to walk by. That's the simplest way to put it. To put it mildly and moderately, their hands were caught in the cookie jar. They were actually trying to do government as usual, and the public outcry has caused them to begin to walk by. However, it doesn't mean they will not come by. They're going to wait and see if they can work around the legislature. If they see many friendly forces, that might resurface. Okay? There are different things that we are hearing. Some people are saying this South African guy is trying to get the rail from Guinea, connecting of the Senegal access to the port of Buchanan. That's some of the things we're hearing. And that kind of rumor, that kind of speculation is also not far. Because under the WIA administration, there was a South African-based company that also tried to get the rail. Okay? So, and also the port of Buchanan. And there was that tussle between Day and ArcelorMittal. So, and this guy who is behind this deal is also the South African. So you can see now that there could be possible that the first South African company failed and they try to go through another businessman that they believe got probably a good deal. But I'm very good chance of getting the pull through, through the government. But I want to really go back to the public works minister on this show, and I want to put on record.
But let's finish the issue with the machine. Then we can go there.
Yeah,
the reason why this machine issue I don't want to take it much is I think the information minister has settled the issue. He said no deal has been reached. But that is contrary to what they put out first. One United Party operatives, even some elected officials, some representatives and senators like Sir Joseph, my own Representative Musa Ability, without understanding the intricacies on this, they ran to the press, endorsing it. And looked there on SKT on SKTV last night. Honorability started to walk by his endorsement of this deal. In fact, when Sekou Puchin followed, he publicly apologized to his supporters that he was fast on this matter. And I, as a brother and friend of Honorability, I have advised him many times. We have exchanged text messages. I'm constrained to admit these things publicly now because, that's sometimes we have to do it. I have told my representative, do not be the first. Leaders are always the last. Those of us who grew up in the village, when the elders gathered around, the head elder is the last to talk. He listened to all the quarter chiefs. After they've spoken, then he comes and break the matter. That's what he should do, Musa. I have told him that, but he thinks maybe being newsmaker is the best thing. But sometimes it hurts. And this one, I think it hurts him, And now, if the government, like they're doing that, if they walk by totally, what will Honorability say?
There you go, Toga. You better.
What will he say? So I think he should have just followed some of our advices to him quietly that on some issue, I'm not going to be first. On some issue, I will be the first. And I think I'll put it that way.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about the public, because the public works is on our agenda because we're happy in the Senate and we'll talk about it. We'll definitely talk about it. We'll talk about that. But that you want to deal with this issue first.
Let me just quickly make a statement about what Kolibo just said, and I think I highlighted that yesterday. Nevertheless, this has always been the trend for most public officials in Liberia, especially for those who want to be the face of the news making, right? They want to be the guy to say, oh, this person spoke about it. This person said it. We are not modeling here. You are governing. At this point, you must be very skeptical as to what and how you say certain things, regardless of how you see it. Even if that is something that you support, you should do thorough analysis, do your assessment prior to coming to the public, because you don't always want to be the DeLon to always roll back on your statement or come out with apologies. Now, going to the issue here with this, the equipment. Look, Tomalin, I think Honorable Boycott and the entire UP government should apologize to the public for misleading the public. You read forbiddenly what was written and what they told us. So to listen to the information minister come out here and try to retract that statement and make it seem as though what the lady said was wrong, or she was trying to contradict what really took place, it puts me in the position to wonder as to whether these are just amateurs who are trying to govern a state without experience. But there is no way we should consider that the case, because from all directions, if you were to look at it, these are the self-proclaimed overly educated people. These are the self-proclaimed experienced professionals. These are the self-proclaimed 12 years of good governance that they claim we experience. These are the people who criticize CDC. So for them to come out here now and say, "Oh, you know what? What was discussed, it wasn't concluded. It was simply just in the workout process." It tells me that these are a bunch of amateurs. They don't even know what they're doing. They are simply doing certain things to satisfy or distract the public from the reality. Let's go back to the reason why they brought up the issue of the yellow machine. The price of rice. If we were to call today and open up the phone lines and ask Liberians, call from your various communities and tell us the price of rice, it will be contrary to what they told us the price of rice will be. So they don't want people to focus on these things. So they are trying to divert the entire conversation, just like they did with the inaugural funds. Today, the chairman of the UP is yet to speak about what happened with the inaugural fund. Whether there was investigation, we are yet to find out. There was issue about financial malpractice when members of the UP were handed a certain amount, I think 5,000 apiece. Here we are again. Now we're talking about this yellow machine. It is a form of distraction, but we must hold them accountable. But the only way we can hold them accountable if our lawmakers are to stand up and do the right thing. That is to ask them, how did we get here? Why are we here? And why are we discussing something that did not follow the proper procurement process? Thank you.
Yeah, Toga, I was saying earlier, I'm sure we all follow the story, and they when they made a presentation in the cabinet retreat, they didn't say that they was thinking about they said it was on the way. I mean, they were preparing for the ceremony to be done, and which was a good news. Look, if you are a true Liberian, you are nationalist, you are patriot. Such a news should be news to celebrate, because it brings joy to all of us, especially those who in Liberia, those who can visit Liberia and travel on these roads. You want to see that kind of machine there, so when rainy season comes, when the road is damaged, the road will be, people can drive on these roads. But also to be mindful that just seeing all these machines, it's not for free though. You know something behind it. So you gotta do the due diligence and find out what's behind it. But then the information minister changed today and said different things from what Mama Peabody said at the cabinet retreat. So what's your take on it?
So, I mean, you can understand clearly that I think coordination is a problem. And the Liberian people expected a lot from the Unity Party, because part of the people who are currently in the government are people who have served government probably for the last 12 or more years. So they understand government. But I think with the new age, the new system of technology and all of that, the Unity Party came to power when we have just come from war. I remember somewhere around even 2008, 2009, when I was actively working for Kings FM, social media was just a new kind of thing. Yeah, I remember we had a big situation in Liberia, a person naked girl saga that we reported that year, and some people were just talking about Facebook. Today, times have changed, and it's giving, I think, the UP a very tough time. A very tough time. The fact that, Madam Mama Peabody will be saying one thing, information another thing, president will be saying another thing, it tells you how difficult it is. I think the Unity Party is having some key challenges. The same thing happened with the rest issue. When you follow the rest saga, It's my understanding that the Minister of Commerce drove from the office of the president to where he made the pronouncement at the Ministry of Information. Now, it came back, the president had to somersault to almost like overturn the decision as though he was not in the know of what had happened. Similar thing is happening now. Mama Kability goes to a major state event where you are having cabinet retreat, makes a pronouncement that in fact the materials are already on the boat. I just sent that particular clip to Lofa. And I hope as we go on, Lofa can even play that clip. Where you will see Madam Bilete saying these consignments already on the boat and they are headed to Liberia. Today, the Minister of Information is coming back to say to the country there has been no deal reach. And it comes out of a bulk of the folks on Capitol Hill, legislators, who are raising the debate, flagging the red flag and all of that. And then social media. It's a clear violation of Article 34 that talks about the president, the legislative powers. One of the legislative powers is the issue of being the one to negotiate borrowing of money. And this guy, you borrow around $52 million from a South African. It has a lot of interplays. All right. 52 million, you go and borrow it in the name of a country without the legislature even involved. And I hope the legislature will not stop here. I really hope so. That the legislature will go further with this matter. The legislature will bring the actors around the table so there can be further discussion. Today the commerce minister shy away from the legislative engagement. Technically, I can say he checked up. The commerce minister should have appeared today with the agriculture minister. He stayed off. In fact, the House of Representatives is now even thinking about putting him under contempt and all of that. So it's a crucial issue. And, everybody welcomes the idea that you have this huge amount of equipment coming to the country to take care of our rural work and make our farm to market accessible and all of that. But the processes, the issues, some of the things that we're talking about, we have to coordinate and organize ourselves before they are done. But you don't just come and just tell the Liberian people that you've credited around 52 million from one South African businessman. You start bringing in materials without the involvement of the legislature. I think that was a slip, and I think this entire deal even needs to be cut off completely instead of the way we seem to be playing around. But I can really think that this is over with. I don't think we will hear much about this because the legislature is going to raise this thing beyond expectation.
Peabody, continue the show. I'm getting a call from.
All right, guys. Good to see everybody. Let's continue. Who's next? Somebody who's next? Kalabu and Professor Larry. Who next? Yeah, let's start, and then I'll come on.
No, Professor Larry. I spoke already.
Professor Larry.
Kalabu, it's okay. Just trying to get my equipment and everything all set up. So go ahead. This is interesting. I'm joining because I found the conversation fascinating. So
I actually spoke. Then
let me.
Then you can talk.
Let me comment. Look, I've been following this story. The issue here of misinformation, it has become just something that people they don't care about. They're not accountable no more. We heard when the president went to they claimed that the president went to Ghana to meet the president of Ghana when the president of Ghana was already on a trip, I think, to Switzerland. Yeah. Then they somersaulted and said that the president was meeting the vice president, but they met on Zoom. So the president flew to Ghana to meet the vice president, but then they met on Zoom. The whole story, I don't know whether you remember that story, right? That came up.
I remember that. Yeah.
Executive Mansion. They say he went to meet Nana Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo was in Switzerland. Then it came back. They said, "Oh no, he didn't meet. He met with the vice president of Ghana, but they had no photo of the vice president of Ghana." Then it came back and said they met on Zoom. So the story continued. The problem is, a credible nation, and you will have information and lying on credible information like that to your public or government, and you think it's acceptable to Liberian people, or Liberian people are crazy, they don't care for this kind of thing. How long you will continue lying for these people? Like what Toga said, how can Mama see Ability make an announcement at the retreat they had, so-called 3 days retreat with nothing achieved? Make an announcement and say, "Hey, we got this rice coming," and they have concluded. The Minister of State had already said it, as I read in one local newspaper. Then, Information Minister come on again and say that they are not going to prevent the arrangement. You know, so I don't know what's going on, but it clearly shows that Oben Bwaka is unable. He's left off the loop. He doesn't know what is going on in his government. Totally, he does not know what is going on. I don't think he's aware. He just heard the news. Oh, we did this today, or we did that today, and that shows Liberia is on the wrong trajectory. I'm telling you, we have a problem, very serious problem, because we can't communicate. Government signing deal for 25 million, 35 million dollars, and some people in the Senate, the legislature divided. Some people are saying this one, we agree with this. The other day, the chairman on, I think, Judiciary, Augustine Chair, I don't know, came out and wrote a long story that they were unaware of such deal, what the government was doing, the trial, what did they go through PPC. It seems like PPCC is the new blanket. Everybody just jump down, cover the cell. Everybody, I think.
So Doc, there's a couple of things real quick, right? And I think we see and we're starting to understand, if you didn't understand before why Liberia remains poor, and you've been around now for maybe 2 or 3 election cycles, presidential election cycles, I think you're starting to see a repeat of the same things, right? Because even when President Weah went over to Paris for I think it was some women's conference, and they ended up doing a lot of their presentation from a hotel using Zoom. So they traveled to Paris to do a Zoom conference rather than save the country's thousands and thousands of dollars. We saw that, and we heard the criticism from the opposition at the time. And to see situations like that occurring again, where people are traveling just to go and do a Zoom conference, it tells you that there is a problem with the system, and it has to do with how we are hiring people for these jobs, right? Because the president is involved in a lot of the appointments. And sometimes when your president has that level of power where you're appointing everybody down to assistant ministers and all that stuff, you are influenced by the people around you who are telling you to appoint people, and these people are not really vetted. You don't know the true qualifications. You're only appointing them because you are asked you or suggested or recommended to you to appoint them. So you run into a situation where somebody is interested in bringing in yellow machines or these big type machines, but do they understand what it means on return on investments? Do they understand how Liberia debt sustainability, the risk, because Liberia right now is at a high risk of debts, of repaying some of its debt. Do they understand all of those things? So you have to first say, why is this? Why this keeps happening? It keeps happening because of the hiring practices. In most countries, most developed countries, people are hired based on their resume. They go and sit before a 3 or 4 member panel. They get interviewed. They get thoroughly vetted. They do security checks on them before they come in and start working. We don't see that happening in Liberia. A lot of people that are appointed just based on the recommendation of a family or a friend or someone who supported the candidates. So you don't end up with the best of the best in your government. That's one reason. The situation you're seeing also right now with this whole machine and the debt and all that stuff, it reminds me of this case that I've been following for the past maybe 5-6 years with Mozambique. The finance minister of Mozambique, Michael Cheng, he went and borrowed hundreds of millions of dollars from the international community, and the legislators knew nothing about it. He had this whole grand scheme of doing something with tuna boat. He went out to Europe, brought in Credit Suisse Bank and a lot of these investment banks. They issue a lot of debt. They sold securities to American investors. And all the while Michael Cheng was doing this stuff, The IMF did not know. The World Bank did not know. The legislators in the countries did not know until the whole thing blew up. Then when Mozambique, the government of Mozambique finally found out what the finance minister was doing, tying the country into all these loans, by then it was too late. They went to a court in Europe begging the European government to not hold them to paying some of the debt that they were. The court said, look, the banks in Europe, the court said, no, your finance minister had the authority to tie you guys into a contract. You are liable to pay that. And because of all of the scam this finance minister was involved in putting the country in debt, the IMF said, look, we're going to suspend lending you any money because we didn't realize that your finance minister was putting you in all this hot water, putting you in debt that you couldn't afford to pay back. It caused the Mozambican economy to practically collapse. This is the situation where you're seeing you can't go sign contracts or do deals if you don't understand the country or the country's situation with debt. So the statements that were made, it was amateurish. It was probably because the person didn't have enough experience in putting people in places where they probably do not belong. These kind of high finance, these kind of high, So that's the hiring practices changes, and you bring in more competent people to compete for these jobs. You will always end up with amateur coming in to come and do these big items. And you may end up one day your luck is going to run out. Somebody will come in, cut a deal with somebody, and you'll be out of luck because Liberia is supposed to be signing concessionary loans. Concessionary loans have better terms, meaning I'm interested in borrowing money from Chief Tomalin. Let's say Dr. Peabody is a bank over in the US. If I go to Dr. Peabody to sign his sovereign debt, he would charge me the market rates. He would charge me 4%, 5%, 6%. And he would want payments to start immediately after we take the loan. But if I go sign a concession loan with Chief, he would say, okay, because you are a developing nation, we're signing a concession loan that is tied into some other asset in the country, or, I would get favorable terms from Chief. He would say, you probably don't have to pay this loan in the first 60 months. We can defer your payments. Maybe you only make the interest payments. You don't have to make the interest and the principal. So we can push all those things then aside. That is where Liberia is in terms of the kind of loans they should be getting. But if you go out on a yourself and you decide to tie the country into a debt of 50+ million without people knowing about it, that is dangerous. It can cause the IMF to hold back on lending you any money. And because Liberia doesn't have any credit rating, you can't borrow from, or even the African Development Bank, or the Kuwaitis, or the Saudis, or the Arab Bank. These are the major people we can borrow from right now. IMF, World Bank, African Development Bank, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and I think it's the Arab Bank as well that we can borrow from. You start doing all these shenanigans, you can plunge the country into an economic chaos. So this is a big deal. They have to put something in place to make sure it doesn't happen again. Okay?
Okay. Welcome the rest of the panelists on the show, Grace and Chuchu. While Tuga was talking, there was a call that they want me to come in. I don't know. You guys saw the budget, the recent budget the president signed. I was informed that the legislature approved 25% of the road fund for them to procure for procurement of such equipment for the road. I don't know. Somebody who's aware of it, can you somebody explain it better? That the legislature that just passed the budget, they allocated 25% of the road fund. So now that's why, if anything about such a machine, that why it will be used for. But I'm still a little bit confused. Somebody can clarify for us. Who knows about that?
But I mean, the first thing someone said, was like, okay, so they also had in the budget, I think, some presidential project. Now, when we went to the budget, we realized that 2023 budget had like 700,000. Now, the 2024 national budget I got zero in our budget item for presidential project under the Ministry of State. I think they're not trying to shift the goalpost by saying it's on a roll fund. Now, but you've gone ahead already and taken $52 million from a businessman based in South Africa to procure this equipment. The equipment on the way coming because Madam Belete has clearly said that the equipment on the way coming. Now, some legislators are raising issue because of the violation of Article 34 that gives the legislator some powers over borrowing and all that kind of stuff. So the government now has to backpedal on the matter to say, okay, we've not concluded the discussion. But here's the thing. They know already that the equipment procured, I think they're taking the money already from the businessman. The clip is clear that Madam Belete said at the cabinet retreat that those items were already on ship and headed to Liberia. They should just be able to answer the questions. If they wanted to use roll fund or whatever, they should have said that clearly to the public. You can't be all over the place. 1 minute you say this, another minute you say this. Like I was saying to you, a similar thing that happened with the rest issue. The Minister of Commerce drove from the mansion to the Information Ministry, staged a press conference. The next day, the president called and reversed the decision. It keeps happening over and over. So I think the problem here is organization. How do you, if Madam Belete wanted to make a comment, if they needed to, to put some PR spin around it before the comments come up, you put the PR spin around it. So immediately it hits the public. Everybody is on course. You can get 1 minute, one ministry say another thing, the other ministry say another thing. I think that's the problem. The confusion is right there.
Dr. Peabody, the government is saying that they're saying that 25% will be payment against the loan that they will get for these bidding machines, right? They are also saying that they are not taking no money from nobody yet. They are also saying that this deal have not been officially closed. There's no deal, and that's why they are in talks. But I mean, what you heard the Minister of State at the cabinet retreat, and then the information minister said something different, contrary to what she said at the cabinet retreat. So where are we? I mean, what do you think happening right now?
I think nobody's in control. You don't know who's in control yet, because you have information that are coming up, and folks are unaware. Either you have certain people who have privilege to the information, other people don't have, so they just come out and say anything that they want to say. But my point here is, are they following the procedure? Are they following the law? Why you are leaving out one of the major group in the country, one of the major branch of government, the legislature, you're leaving them out, and you are going and making decisions outside of them. They are not aware, except for those who support the Unity Party government, likes the likes of Dillon and other than who come out and writing conflating things that really don't make a lot of sense to the Liberian people, and they're just coming out and saying things. Why would the Minister of Information, who should have privilege to all those things, come up and say, hey, we haven't done it? The man who was next door to Baka, who like a feet from Baka office is saying that the deal have been reached and will be paying 25%, making 25% payment against it. I think, look, I'm not against bringing in a machine into Liberia that will help do the roads and other areas like that, but follow the procedure. You ran on this same thing that the real government was not transparent. You fought him. He was corrupt. They didn't know anything, and you been in power just about 3 months or 4 months, and you're doing the same old thing. Nothing changed. How can people look to you for change? You started already violating the Constitution. When LTA, you went there to the Supreme Court. You violated everything. What is this? It seems like nobody knows what's going on in the government. I'm afraid that I don't even know what's going on. He just enjoying the moment, enjoying his that's a big time retirement he's had right now to be president of the country in retirement. That's a big time stuff. He's enjoying it. I'm relaxing and just doing my stuff. I can get anything, go anywhere I want to go. And I'm enjoying this big time retirement. That's why I'm saying right now.
But Peabody, you want to get an answer? I just posted Soup. The Student Unification Party had a press conference today. I put it in the chat room. Read the statement issued by Soup today. Very powerful statement. I listened to it to the end. In fact, in one area they said, I just posted on my social media page, that the Bwaga Kun administration is all one in a new battle headed for immediate disaster. That's what they posted today.
I agree.
But
I
yet they
agree.
the same people that voted for Baka.
Mm-hmm.
Come in,
Well,
Grace.
I'm not into that fight with you, Grace. People can
So
change.
Kalabu,
No, but she's right though.
I eat
But
basi
people can
today.
change. They don't have to be you, Grace.
No, but we can't. What really
First
wrong with
person
you,
could be
man?
your portion, and
What really
flip
wrong
flopping
with
could be
you?
your other portion.
Grace, don't let him win this fight today. Don't let him win.
I eat basi today. You never answer me. You
I
need to
got you.
go
I
for
got your
it.
back.
Yeah. Oh my. He's my brother. Yeah, but you know I will just piggyback a little bit from Professor Kennedy. The hiring processes in Liberia, especially with civil servants, it is just too behind. The president got too much power to just hire people and put people into places. Look, in President Baga government right now, some of the people that are deputy minister, they never sat in office for 30 years. The major took them from America here, they're sitting in office right now. And they want a true fact information. Some of them went to school for the thing, they get a degree, but they never work in that area because you know America sometimes can be biased. They will not hire you to where you got a degree and stuff like that. And they started doing different things in the country here with different experience. They went back to they sitting now in minister and deputy minister position. In America, the civil service process is that when you get certain jobs for you to get it, you have to take a test. You're almost 2,000 taking that test. You pass your score up, they put you in line. Then you go for interview. You go for 2 interviews for them to accept you in that position. When they accept you, you start to learn in that position. You get experience. Your experience start to go up. They start to go up. As soon as a certain director position open, they land you in that director position because you got experience now. And then when you reach a certain level, they push you up nearer to maybe the governor or the president or something. It's step by step. So when you get on the job, you know exactly what you're doing. Your experience is vast. You know what you're doing, and you can deliver accordingly. In our country, the president get there, he bring a girlfriend children in, he bring the girlfriend in. The old people in the way he went to school, ever since he bring it again. He said, "Oh, I promise you the time when instance I come to get you position when I become president." You know that small boy and small girl promising, and when the day I be something, I will help you. So then he bring the people there. Then you think our country will go anywhere? They yellow mission issue here, and then the guy said in the government is a court. All of them together, they stick one place, they sideline other people in the government. So they're not even sharing information like that. Don't mind it, they're all fighting among themselves. So it's just so hard for the government to succeed when it runs like that. And when you're not succeeding because you run like that, you take away from the Liberian people. You know, and you take away from we the desperate Liberian, because we support that community, we support that society. We send money to that society, and we are part of your budget. In fact, most of our money going there, it helping you in your budget. So I mean, it's just a hard thing, but I just wanted to come with something that they can do. You know, we will score them, but then we will teach them. What can you do now to correct this? Dialogue with the people. Come on and tell us what's going on. Be fair to us. Say the truth. Apologize to the public. That when people they voted for you, you're not gonna King. I don't know what Baga feel that he just. That's why I said the Papa in his retirement, they put getting him a very good retirement package. So he just there and enjoying himself, and then he also saving money for his children in the future and his grandchildren. And that grandpa saw that future and gave it to the man for him to make his children life better and his grandchildren life better. Because or else he was not going to be voted into power at this time in Liberia for this crucial time of our country. We're not going to take a guy like Waka. Not the papi. There's nothing, I mean, I got nothing against the papi. I guess my family member and said, working in that government. But I don't have the heart to come here and praising that government because for me, it's like Liberia first, more than anything else. No individual worth more than Liberia to me. No individual. So they need to come back and get accurate information, tell the public, apologize, dialogue with the people, let the people ask you questions, you answer them, and we move on from this.
Okay, we got lots. We got another big story to cover: the public works and the Senate. But before we go there, we'll come
Chief,
back.
Before Chuchu come in, can I just say something? 30 seconds, real fast. Grace
go ahead.
One thing that Grace mentioned, she talked about people within government in the U.S., how they build experience over time, right? What she said is important because if you read the August 2022 review by the IMF on the government of Liberia, the August 2022, They said one of the major issues you'll find in Liberia is people don't stay in the position long enough to build experience. It's in the IMF report. Because as soon as you start building experience, maybe the partisan for the party will come in and replace you, or a new government will come in, and there's no continuity. You don't keep the same people at a high level long enough to build enough experience for there to be for it to be based on their knowledge. So what she just mentioned is absolutely true, written in the IMF criticism of Liberia, the August 2022 IMF review. So I wanted to just follow up on what she just mentioned.
Okay.
Thanks,
In fact, let me just bring to you about Professor Kenneth. Before we leave this topic, I will come back to you after Chuchu because we got a lot of people watching this show. I know, but I want for you to tell Liberian people just prepare for it. Tell the people the danger in getting shady loans and in shady deals, how it can affect the country and the government. But after Chuchu, you'll come back to end it before we go to the next topic on the public wealth issue. So just get ready, please. So Chuchu, you're way in.
All right. Good evening, lady and gentlemen. Again, it's a pleasure to be here. I want to respond first to your question you asked about the road fund and if there was any allocation for loan on equipment. The answer to that is no. I'm looking at the budget. The budget allocated $35 million for the Ministry of Public Works. Of that $35 million, it says here that there's the road fund, $26 million. There is no money in our budget for construction of roads and bridges, $0 for 2024, 25, and 26. Previously, there were $9.4 million under the re-administration.
Well,
The administration and management.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
In the legislature, they didn't say 25% of the road fund will go towards procurement of earth moving machines. Is not stated there.
No, it's not in the budget. So
Okay.
if you use that amount, then it will be around $6.2 million of that $25 million that is saying yet for road funds. They already used about $20 million, remember, for the rehabilitation of the road. So they're going to collect $26 million, which is allocated from the road funds. So how can you come back again and take another $6 million out over that amount? So it's a lie as usual. Now they just want to find something that stick, because according to the budget, which spells out all the allocation in the budget under the Ministry of Public Works. And there's nowhere where, in fact, the Ministry of Public Works should not be engaging in any foreign loans. And then loans that Liberia engages in should be through the Ministry of Finance and Development. Then they can be allocated. But a ministry in Liberia cannot go out and take a loan on their own for equipment or something like that. That's very unprecedented. So again, and so to finalize, as you guys were saying, we have a lot of people who are misfits in the government, a lot of people who don't have practical experience. They come to get a piece of paper. Nowadays you can get MBA from anywhere. $2,000 they can get your MBA from some online college or wherever. So these people go and they get these paper, and their purpose is to go in the government. And most of them, and I can question most of them, they have not worked in our field they have never worked in our field. But let's start with the top. Let's start with the top here, because what they say, the fish get rotten from the head. If you elected somebody who is not qualified, which is the president, meaning you brought Honorable Broca in to manage the economy, because that's what the president does. When the president's job is the chief economist. You guys don't know that. Okay? But that's one of the main jobs: chief security, chief foreign diplomat, and chief economist. So if you hire a chief economist that is incapable of managing anything, that even doesn't, they put a budget in front of him, like I said, where 100,000 for the whole year, no allocation for roads and bridges. So how are they repairing roads and bridges for the next year in Liberia? There's zero in the budget. And the president can see that. Then you're talking about the people under him. You understand? That's why it's key in a nation, whether it's Singapore, it's Rwanda, is Botswana, recently in Ecuador. These people have presidents, like people talk about Singapore all the time. Oh, Singapore's up. No, it's not America. Lee Kuan Yew is an economist from the London School of Economics and a lawyer. And he was in his youth when he became the prime minister of Singapore. Okay, you're not 80 years or 70 years old. He was in his late 30s, in fact, when he became prime minister. And he was very, very capable of understanding management, budget, debt, that Larry indicated. Our debt to GDP right now is over 50%, which means that we owe what $2.7 billion, and our GDP is half that amount. Our GDP is $4 million, 4.7. So we have that threshold, which means we're going to be paying. Look, Liberia is done under this administration. There's no ways to put it. Okay, President Boka, in all his goodness, nothing personal, he's not fit to run that country. He does not. All the decisions you've seen so far. And so I don't want people to shift the blame and say, oh, people don't know, the old man don't know, the old man don't know. That's just a lame excuse. If the CEO of a company and stuff goes on in the company, and you're responsible. That's why FDR said the buck stop yet. Okay. So President Boka was the bad choice for Liberia. He would be a bad choice for Liberia. He would get us in a lot of debt and a lot of problems. Lastly, let me say this. People should go to jail for this. When you take an oath as a minister, when you go for confirmation, you are pledging, right, to uphold the Constitution. Okay, if you lie about it or you don't do it deliberately, because this is a deliberate stuff, it's a crime. You can't go and borrow money secretly, take money from international business people, and then come back and say, let's fix it. This is an impeachable act, because the president cannot go out and get money from a corporation or a business. No president can do that without the approval of the Senate. It's in the Constitution. So if you took $1 from that businessman, right, it's a crime already. The question is, how do we move forward? We have all these political leaders. We have all these people who talk every day, no politics. Read your Constitution. Okay, that is pure blatant corruption. The CEO of that company should also be brought before the House if he wants any business in Liberia ever, and he can also be charged if he bribed for bribery. Larry, in America now they have where if a corporation goes in any foreign company and they give bribe, they can be charged criminally. Okay. So this is a criminal offense. I just want to say it's a criminal offense, and the senators and the representatives will do justice to investigate, have an independent inquiry, get somebody like Larry, and then look into it and say what happened, who took what. Well, that's how we move that country forward.
We're going to chat about Professor Kennedy before we go to Bennett, right? Okay. I know you mentioned about 2 stories today in the chat room, but I want you to share with Liberian people. What's the danger if a government official in the government get involved in shady deals with shady characters, or just in case, and that especially the U.S. government, that the U.S. government have issue with? What happens? Let's assume that example, Hada Iboma and Eton D went through, right? And the foreign that was a shady something have gone through. What would have been the consequences of getting such a bad deal? And it's similar to any other deal they get in. What's the ramifications for these things?
Yeah, so there are 2 things you can expect to happen. And I think the last time we talked about it is why it missed the WIA administration, right? Because the global Magnitsky, why it missed the UP the last time, because the global Magnitsky came into effect in 2017. But what Alex is referring to is what I think Eddie Ja also mentioned, the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, right?
Practices Act.
So when you 2 things, people need to pay attention to some of the decisions they make, because the world has changed. It's no longer where you can just be placed on a sanctions list. you luck out, you can run for office in Liberia and get elected. If you take a look at what happened with Michael Chang, if anything you're doing, if this businessman or you're moving money or anything now is so heavily corrupt, because the US government, go to the American White House website. Don't say Larry Kennedy said it. Go to the website and see it for yourself. Corruption is considered a threat to US national security. A threat to US national security. So President Biden made that designation that corruption, no matter where it is happening, the US will get involved in it. So now the law that was recently passed means corrupt acts taking place outside of the US, you're liable to get picked up and brought to the US, similar to what happened to Michael Chang, and get prosecuted. You see, his prosecution was because...
Who is Michael Chang? Who is he?
So Michael Chang was the former finance minister of Mozambique. Very powerful guy. This guy, I believe in December of 2018, the US was trying to get a hold of him because of some shady deals he did, borrowing over $2 billion and putting the Mozambican government on the hook. The government knew nothing about what he was doing, right? The problem is when the US tried to grab him, he wouldn't leave Mozambique. So when he was traveling and he made a pit stop, a holdover in South Africa, the US had a warrant out for him and the South African government grabbed him. He sat in prison in South Africa for 5 years. He was fighting extradition to the US. 5 years he sat in prison. It was up until 2023 that the South African government said, no, we're not sending you back to Mozambique to be put on trial. We're going to send you over to the US.
Wow.
So the Southern District Court in New York, powerful court. The court grabbed him now. He's sitting on trial, but he's not the only one that's been on trial for this scam. Other Wall Street investment bankers have already pled guilty to it. Some have been sentenced, some have been fined. So he's on trial right now. Former finance minister, very powerful guy from Mozambique, Michael Chang. What they need to realize in Liberia is the world has changed, right? So the thing you believe you're doing in Liberia, corrupt acts considered a threat to U.S. national security, you're going to get yourself in trouble. Not just sanctioned, you can possibly get arrested, indicted, brought over to the U.S. for trial. The other thing is the risk of putting the country in financial problem. That's a major risk. And you think because countries like Ghana just got a $3 billion bailout, right, from the IMF. That was because Ghana was borrowing a lot of money. But then they weren't putting that money to productive use to create jobs and grow the economy. We're proud of what Ghana has done so far. But Ghana has consistently run to the IMF for bailout. You would think that Ghana would have learned a lesson because if I remember correctly, I can't remember the specific year, but Ghana had fallen into the IMF bailout trap. And within a few months, that was a coup d'etat took place in Ghana, replacing the government because of the austerity measure that came in as a result of the IMF bailout. Greece did the same thing. They went for IMF bailout. The protest that took place in Greece, it was ridiculous. Argentina, they had an IMF bailout. Sri Lanka had one of the largest IMF bailout of like 57 billion or so. These bailouts, when you get this bailout, they'll tie you into a specific contract that makes it now difficult for you to borrow new money. And it all has to do with what Alex mentioned, right? Your debt to GDP ratio. Liberia, we're in a major problem. Our major problem is we are exposed to external shocks. In 2008, a large bank in the US called Lehman Brothers, when that bank failed, we had a financial crisis. It impacted Liberia. Liberia got stuck. By the time we came out of the financial crisis, like 2010, 2011, within 2 years, December 2013, boom, we got hit with Ebola. Thousands of our brothers and sisters were impacted. The companies that in the country, they fled. All of it, because we just focused all on the extractive sectors. When all those companies fell, the productivity in Liberia dropped. Right at the time we came out of Ebola by 2016 or so, things were starting to pick up. Boom, by March of 2020, we got hit with COVID. Look, these things happen every few years. We are stuck in these extractive sectors. We don't have a diversified economy. So when you start borrowing money and we get hit by something outside of the country, you're not going to have the money to pay back this debt. What are you going to do if you can't pay back this debt? They will freeze you having more money. The people are going to suffer. So you got to be careful when you're borrowing money. And you got to hit the economy hard, diversify the economy, create jobs. Jobs that are not in the extractive sector, you know, the iron ore, gold, all that stuff, rubber. Create real jobs in Liberia, that money will stay in Liberia. So you got to be careful with U.S. Saying that corruption is a threat to the national security. You got to be careful that when you borrow so much money and you have some external shock and you can't pay back this money, what's going to happen? So those are the two main things people need to concentrate on every time they're borrowing money like this. So I hope that helps.
So quickly, it is true that the sitting president of Zimbabwe is on U.S. sanction right now, and I heard he's friends with this guy who's trying to help Liberia. It is true. It is. Anybody confirm it?
Yes, President Mnangagwa is on sanctions.
On U.S. sanction right now? Wow. Okay.
But bear in mind now, when you get on U.S. sanction, you can also get off U.S. sanction, because roughly 40% of people that get on U.S. sanctions, they can get off the sanctions. A lot of people just don't know how to do it, you know.
Chairman.
Larry, I told you let's start one consultancy that we getting people off sanctions.
Break me up, bro.
You stay listening to me. But anyway, first of all, it's good to be here. Thank you, guys. It's feedback. Is it me? Oh, no, Peabody. Okay. Let me say there's a lot of things happening. A couple of things are happening, and everybody has been monitoring this issue with the whole yellow machine, as quote unquote, as we sometimes I wonder if we can take anything serious in Liberia. We're at a verge of something this big happening, but I mean, I'm looking on Facebook and I'm looking at people sharing, videos and stuff. But I guess we try our best to make light off of every serious situation. But what I will say though is there are a couple of things that stood out to me. One, the missed messages coming out of the government of Liberia. One person saying that this was already finalized, because if you watch the video that Minister Billete shared, it clearly says that video was a turning over ceremony, that the equipments were being turned over to the Liberian government on the presidential infrastructure project. There's another information out there that the machines, the equipment are already on the ship en route to Liberia.
Wow.
There is another information out there that this was as a result of high-level diplomatic engagements with the government of China, trying to show up the JMB government, because they had a rocky pass with the WIA government. And then ultimately there is this notion that this was procured through a grant. The question is this grant from the Chinese government? Because only governments will give governments grant, or maybe the IMF or the World Bank. We definitely know it's not the IMF or the World Bank that has given a grant to purchase these things. If it's a loan, the government of Liberia cannot enter into any loan instrument without the national legislature. The national legislature is not aware of this. Senators are asking questions. So I think this is just a whole big pile of craziness, right? And I think it speaks clearly to the dysfunctionality of the government's information dissemination arm. I think, like I said on this platform over and over, this government is operating like an old-timer game. Everybody is minding their own win. Everybody wants to showcase what they're doing. It's almost like they're. And if I was the president, again, I want to speak to President Buckeye. If I was the president, you will think this is something that should even get him so furious, to the extent that heads should have rolled like yesterday, just based on the notion that officials of the Liberian government came out there and gave this information out there to the country, and the whole country is in a tailspin. Larry is absolutely right. These things have implications. There are U.S. sanctions that could be, when you're dealing with businessmen and women who have questionable character, alleged questionable character. I want to be very clear. We're on the radio. There's a lot of things that come into play. We understand that some of this thing, we understand that some of this thing is negotiation for Wologisi or for I don't know what the other mountain is called, Putu or all these mountains. All of these, look, any deal that has to do with concession should not be done in secrecy. There should be an open debate at the national legislature. People should be able to opine because you are giving away. Nobody is against development. Listen, I want the government to bring 500 equipments in the country, but just do it the right way. Just go through the process, go through the right channel. The only other thing I would say is that the other challenge this government will have is the same challenge the CDC government have once they enter into an IMF program. Once you get into an IMF program, you can't just jump on and decide, say, you know what, I want to go and get a loan to do something. In as much as you want to do it, it has to be structured under the IMF program. It has to be structured in a way that it meets all of those criteria. So I just think the government of Liberia has a lot of explanation to do. I think the Minister of Information was not as forthcoming and informative as he should have been. I think he was joking around and playing with it. But I will say this. This is not a joking matter, because there could be, if the U.S. government sensed that there could be traces of money that was acquired illegally, all kinds of things can come into play here. And you can find the Taylor administration suffered similar fate with OTC. They felt that OTC was a conglomerate, a conglomerate business that was being used to funnel weapons and all kinds of craziness. So we are threading some dangerous and some drastic lines here, and I think the government needs to be very, very careful.
Okay, quickly, we should spend at least 30 seconds on the question I'm asking. We'll start with Lofa, right? Do you think Mamaka ability should be penalized for this? And secondly, you think the president was in the know? And lastly, you think she alone was involved in this negotiation? Just quickly.
Well, to penalize Mamaka Bididi, okay, Madam Bididi, that means the president himself will have to be penalized to some extent, because there is no way I personally can believe that the president was not in the know of this. Everything that happens, President Boycott knew of it, but he's trying to distance himself from it because of the public backlash. That's the only reason why he would pretend not to know of it. But this was all orchestrated under the president's umbrella, and he knew of it. There is no way you can distance or should dare attempt to distance the president. Should she be penalized? I think, yeah, to set that precedence. I'll say yes, but then the question will be, what becomes of others who are part of this entire process? Will they also get penalized? That's what we need to be inquiring.
Carabo?
I just like Lofa, I don't think Mamaka will be penalized. I think she should be, but I don't think she will, because of obvious reason. The president is in the know. This is a minister of state with a portfolio. My experience in government, I work under a minister. On a daily basis, on a weekly basis, you go to your boss office to update your boss on what your itinerary are for that week. And you give update on what did you achieve, all of those different meetings, all of the activities, the schedule you have for that week. And I'm very sure the same thing is happening to President Boycott. The Minister of State with our portfolio was giving the president updates on a weekly basis as a briefing to the president. Look, I've spoken to this person. This is where I am. And he didn't say, I don't want it. We're only hearing now that I don't want it because of the public outcry. So if this does not finally happen because their hands are caught in the cookie jar, the credit goes to the Liberian social media. The credit goes to the Liberian activists. That's what I would say.
Okay.
30 seconds, finish.
So I think there is a big power play. From what I'm gathering, it's like it comes into play with this whole HPX and method. I'm understanding There is a segment of people in the mansion who are for HPX. There's another group of people who are for Metal. Now, the people from HPX are trying to influence some major decision. There where Mamaka comes in. The people from Metal are also there and they're rooting for it, just like we who are trying to raise some bottlenecks about the whole deal. They are undercover also making sure that Metal. Remember too now, there is a Metal's executive that is one of the ministers of state with a portfolio. He just left Metal and he came right to the mansion to work. So he's technically still, an ally of Metal but working in the mansion. So
Who is
all
that
these
person?
plays
Can
are
you
going
call
on.
me?
And they want to seem to be impressing the old man by saying, look, this is your plan. This is what you intend to do. You want to initiate this whole road thing. This is what we can do for you. So I think Mamaka seems to be rushing. But my issue is, if the president would be, short-circuiting the decision of all these people, why he's not taking action? By not taking action, simply says to all that he's involved in some of these decisions. Because if the president were angry, for example, with me making a decision or his approval, the president was taking action against the Minister of Commerce. He did not. If the president was angry with Mamaka for which they had to go to Information Ministry to change some of those decisions today, he should have taken action against Mamaka because Mamaka publicly said the thing to the cabinet retreat. Nothing has happened to her. They go back and they say no decision, but no decision has been reached. But this woman already said this thing is on ship and coming to Liberia. I don't think she went over there to say those things without the president involvement. I think the president seemed to be playing some game, and when it backfires, then he takes his feet from honor it. I think that's what happened, and it's troubling. This is the second time that is happening that a key ministers will be taking decision, and he will act like he knows nothing about it, and they will overturn those decisions. It has to stop. I think they have to
Chris.
properly coordinate. If the president got issue with the statement coming from Madam Mamaka Belete, he should act. He should be able to act. Then for them to be putting PR spin around it, which will not just easily be bought. Trust me.
We have to stick to the 30 seconds.
Chris.
Also, that none was still 30 seconds. We got into
These two, eh?
Look, Tomalin, the president, I think he was in the know, and I think he needs to come and acknowledge that this is an error. He was in the know. I think they should fire Mamaka and let her go. Because let me tell you, if Ben Sanvee is president and I support him, I work in his office, he cannot twist my hand to do that kind of stuff. Chris, go out. I would tell him, said, Mr. President, no, this is not right. We can't do this right now. So, I mean, where is her integrity at this point? So if Bakato says she must squat and poop, she will poop. She needs to be fired. Let her go. Yeah, the president was in and know he need to acknowledge the error. He need to come back and rebuild credibility to the government because he still got the time. This is his first year. That's how I feel.
Peabody.
Look, man, nothing will change. I don't think Mrs. Bility acted on her own. I'm sure she went to Barker office. They sat down, they discussed it for weeks and shared with him, hey, this what's going to happen, this what you're going to get. He was aware, except, as we said, except he was in the retirement stage and at some point did not remember what was discussed. But I can tell you, he's fully aware. All those key government officials, like the Minister of State and others, like the ability that the Minister of State portfolio, they all were aware that this deal was going to happen. And let me just say this. They are we're dealing with a government that is uncountable, they don't care. Those machines will come in the country and nothing will really happen. It will just be the same old talking and talking. And at the end of the day, that deal will go on and who should get that share will get it. At the end of the day, we'll just talk and that will be the end of it. They don't care. They're not accountable. And what we're seeing happening. But you can't tell me she acted on her own and to bring those things in the country. They had discussion. She was given the approval to do that. And that's what we see happening. That's why she was free to stand up there and say that the machine was on the way. That's what she could say openly. She felt that it would be a boost of morale for the government or for her that she negotiated millions of dollars have it do the equipment, yellow machine to come to the Liberian government. But you watch. No machine will come in the country and you will not even be aware of it. The next thing you see them flying around the country. They're not accountable to the citizens. They're not accountable to anybody. They can do anything they want to do.
Professor Kennedy, and then Ben. We'll move to Popular Wax.
Yeah, so my approach would be I wouldn't fire her, and yes, why, right? Well, I wouldn't fire her under one circumstance. If nothing has been signed, no contracts, nothing has been signed, the country is not on the hook for anything, I'm not going to fire her. What I will do is use that as an opportunity to learn, right? Because the first mistake, you don't just go ahead, put the person on the firing squad and fire them. You use the first mistake as an opportunity to learn, to make sure it doesn't happen again. That's just my approach, right? So I would not fire her right away. I would kind of do an assessment to see what went wrong, what can we do right the next time, and then just use that as a way to analyze the situation and then make sure that the next time around we will do better. So for me, I wouldn't fire her. I'd use that as a learning opportunity, but I won't let her be running off to the press and then making wild statements. So we'll use that as a learning opportunity.
But you think President Boga was aware?
That's kind of tough to say. I don't want to use the word assume, but I want to believe that the president should be made aware of a large deal of this magnitude that's going to put the country on hook. The president should be made aware. And if he wasn't made aware, then that's even a bigger issue right there. So I would suspect that somebody would have brought it to his attention.
Ben, take us on this now. So
first of all, I think I agree with Larry slightly. I would not fire her because nothing has. Well, I don't know if it hasn't been consummated or whatever, right? But I do believe the president is in the know. This let's not forget, this video was being showed at the cabinet retreat. I don't think Mama Ability had a surprise package for the president at the cabinet retreat. And it was his first time seeing it, and he was like, "Oh my God, my dear Mamaka has done, has saved my presidency." No, I think he was in the know. Let us not forget, and maybe a lot of people don't know this. When the HPX folks went to Liberia, this fellow from South Africa was, I believe, a part of the delegation. This what's his name? Goma? Yes. He was a part of the delegation.
Oh, really?
Look, one of the reasons why this is a bone that is stuck in President Bokai's throat is because he's aware of this. He's aware of this. What I think has happened here is that they did not expect this backlash. That's all that has happened here. They expected that this would have been a game changer for them. This would have been a situation where, whoa, the rescue mission is finally about to take off. But then people started asking critical questions. Where you're getting all this money from? We just passed a national budget, so we clearly know that the money ain't come from the national budget, right? So I think, it almost like the way, and my friend Darius Dillon used to say when President we have fly private jet, he said, "Oh, somebody gave him private jet to boost his morale," right? This was a thing where Joe Biden thought he was getting ready to bust Liberian people's head. It just blew up in his face. So this thing about us trying to scapegoat it and say, "Oh, this is on Mamaka," this is not on Mamaka. Mamaka will never go and sit down and negotiate a deal of that magnitude without the blessing of her boss. In fact, if the president was not aware, he probably would have fired Mamaka Ability at that cabinet retreat. And I said, first of all, no member of the cabinet will go out there to negotiate something that heavy, and the president will have no clue. So the president is in the know. He, again, like I said, this is damage control, horrible damage control, by the way, horrible PR blunder. The Minister of Information literally was fumbling all over the place today when it came to even answering this. You've seen 500 different narratives. I think Mo Ali said on another network that this was coming out of presidential project money. Then you had the MPA managing director saying that this was a loan. There was all these different PR. Again, like I said, Unity Party they seem to not have gotten out of campaign mode. They've won this election. They won this election, no matter how small the margin was, no matter how divided the country may seem politically, right? They are governing the country. I think what they need to do is to govern the country and stop trying to act like they're still running an election campaign by trying to respond to everything on Facebook, by trying to get on the defense for everything. Any responsible government, guys, will be proactive. If you want to roll out a project of this magnitude, it should have been all the players should have flown to Liberia. All the players should have flown to Liberia. The government should have made the public rounds. In fact, a major press conference was addressed by the president of Liberia, because this is like the crown jewel of his policy, of his arrest agenda, right? But again, like I said, this was an attempt to bust the Liberian people here. But I can tell you, it blew up in their face. And at the end of the day, this is all damage control. Mamaka Ability is not going to get fired because President Joe Baka was in the know, and he's not going to go ahead and he's not going to throw her under the bus. Now, I will tell you, this is my last thought on this. I will tell you, in any other serious administration or serious country or serious democracy, someone will take the fall for this. Someone, the presidency will have to be saved, right? It almost like you got to take the bullet for the boss. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen in Liberia. We're going to talk about this for the next 1 or 2 weeks. Something else is going to happen next week. We're going to forget about it like we normally do in Liberia, and we're going to keep pushing on. That's just what I think.
Chuchu, before we go to public works, which is very important, just take us on way on it quickly.
I'll be very brief because Ben has said it. I think Ben warned them, a couple of months ago and told them that nothing is going to pass in this government. Nothing, it's not going to be. Yeah. He warned them, So I agree with you that they thought, Ben will bring yellow machine, big, bold, put in the county. Everybody loves agriculture. Everybody loves, the fact that rules, and that would be the end of it. This is the biggest plan they had, because we're not thinking ahead. That you got lots of people. You got independent media, like, closing argument. You got several people who they care for the country. They don't care what a yellow machine or a blue machine. They want to see the right thing done. And that's what we're here for. We're fighting for that change. But what I wanted to say also, look, Singapore recently just arrested the minister of tourism. You know what they arrested him for? Because he received gifts, tickets, and flying private jets for a company that we're negotiating with. And he's now facing criminal charges. They took his back pay from last year since the investigation opened. That's a serious country. We have ethics laws in Liberia, code of ethics in Liberia, that says you're not supposed to accept as gift more than, I think, $200 or $300, Ben?
$200.
Okay, $200. So if the president goes out and somebody gives him a private jet that worth $10,000 an hour, and that's a business person that's doing business in Liberia or intend to do business in Liberia, that's the definition of conflict of interest. Okay. And that's a crime. That's a crime. We take things too lightly, and we always keep depending that America will sanction people for us. Then why do we have a government? If we can't govern ourselves, if we have representatives all day running around, they won't make this amount of money, and they can't read the law and try to apply it. They're waiting for a U.S. ambassador to sanction somebody or a corporation, or then this is child's play. It's clear here.
Okay, go ahead, Chishu.
Yeah, it's clear here the law was violated. The president does not have the authority to go and sign any agreement to bring any equipment according to the thing that equipment was on en route to Monrovia. No official has to do that with all the legislative branch. It's in the law. You broke the law. Before you talk about, let's sort it all. You broke the law, and there has to be consequences. Where is the anti-corruption? People, because that's corruption. When a mining company gives money, any kind of gift, while they're negotiating to any official, including the president, that's automatically a crime. Let the people in Liberia understand that. All right. And lastly, why are we still giving our mines to foreign companies? You want to tell me that we don't have expertise that can manage our own mines, go off and sign contract and buy $50 million worth of equipment? That we got to be running around, our person got to be running around trying to beg people $50 million? You know, we can do that. You have the expertise, but it shows it shows sightedness. People who want to lead and they don't have any idea, because we give 68 mines. We stay the seventh poorest nation. You know, our per capita said at least we are. Why are you negotiating more lines, more mines? All Liberia needs to do is put a team of Liberian best together to figure out how we can develop our country and what we can do to attract investors to not let other people exploit us. No amount of mines or concession is going to help Liberia. Let's understand that. We've been doing it for 170 so many years.
Guys, there's this.
Tomalin, one thing I wanted to say quickly. Let rephrase it. This could be also a PR stunt to take away the people's minds from the rest issue. I said
it earlier. I said it earlier.
Okay, guys, you know, there's another trending news that everybody is talking about. It's all around. I want you guys to weigh in, though. Something happened at the Ministry of Public Works at the Senate. Now, but you guys will give your own personal assessment. The Senate Public Works Committee begs for pardon of Public Works Minister for awarding controversial contracts with all legislative approval. Says it was a misstep with good intentions. The Liberian Senate Joint Committee on Public Works and Judiciary has reported missteps in the awarding of contracts by the Minister of Public Works to about 10 contractors for rehabilitation of roads across the country with all legislature, but it was inadvertent misstep. The contract worth $22 million for a period of 2 years. It can be recalled. Senators Darius Dillon, Nathaniel McGill, Amara Connor, and Simeon Taylor reported to the public works ministers over allegations of awarding contracts to construction companies worth $22 million. But now, briefing on the report, the former pro tem, he's on sanction now, Abbott chairperson on public works, okay, said during hearing with the ministry and other institutions, they informed the committee that they had to take the decision to award a contract to the companies due to the emergency. The fast approaching rainy season, which could have served as an obstacle. Meanwhile, the plenary of the Liberian Senate has endorsed a report from its committee calling on it to accept an apology from the ministers of public works who apologized during the hearing, and one letter should be sent to the officials involved. Now, everybody, I want you guys to weigh in. Something happened there. There's no way the Senate, the entire Senate now saying that, oh, the mayor missed, there was a missteps and something happened. Everybody concerned. How come the guy that moved up off the hook? And everybody concerned, what happened? But I don't know, we don't know. But people are making an assumption now because the Senate begging for the man, everything they're doing right now. So what's your thought about it? Lofa, let's start and we're gonna move on to.
So, Tomalin, I want to start off with this, right? You have a spineless group of people representing the masses, and you expect anything better to come out of them. They don't see the people as the masses. They see them as the word without the M, and you can spell out the rest of it. These are a bunch of spineless, corrupt politicians representing the people, and you expect. And if you recall, Tomalin, the public works minister last appearance on this platform, he said, I'm accustomed to appearing before them. If you guys recall, he said that. He said to call me all the time. And I will go there again. Because this is the norm. They have no moral. They're not acting based on ethics. They have no moral value. It's not about integrity. They're not serving the people. It's simply about themselves. It's about they and their family. For this man to sit on a platform, and we still have the recording where he said, I think it was Keff Hassan. As a matter of fact, Keff said, you are being investigated. During the interview, he said, oh, I know. This is not the first time I will be investigated. It's many more to come, and I know this. I have been there before. What that tells you, you have a bunch of spineless individuals who don't see reason to exhibit some level of integrity in exhibiting what is in the best interest of Liberian. So at the end of the day, you and I remain victims. We know that this is wrong. Where in the world would such a thing happen? And then you say to the people, I did it in good faith just to make sure that this is done. You will be out of that job because that is not the process. I spoke of, this is the same individual we're talking about here, who Professor Larry asked specific question on data. Okay, all of the projects that are being implemented. How is it that these projects are going to generate revenue, or how are they going to provide jobs? He couldn't give you that. And you know why he couldn't provide that information? Because he understands the dynamics of things that we're literally working with. He understands the society he finds himself in. It's not about how can they be effective at their jobs, but it's how can they enrich themselves. They are all thieves. They are thieves. They are not looking to better the lives of the people. The public work minister is a thief. The folks who are investigating and requesting that he be let off the leash, they are all thieves. And I say this with my face in the camera because you know what? Nothing like this should happen, and this man be allowed to go free without any kind of punishment. This would never happen. Tomalin, I'll end on this note, and I give other people the chance. I would never. Why it is true that at my job, I have the ability to procure equipment for my techs. I must make sure that the procurement department approves. Whether I'm on the road, I'm on flight. It is needed. It is an emergency. If it is not approved after a certain amount, and I go about and do it, I could possibly get fired. If the justification is not one that when I have to sit in or hearing and I can justify it beyond all reasonable doubts. Okay, what these people are doing in Liberia, they are purposely doing this thing to enrich themselves, and that's the reason why some of us continue to say this was not about change; it was about chances, and they are a bunch of thieves. Thank you,
Chairman Sanvee. What happened? What do you think happened? The Senate to get the guy off the hook. What happened there?
Yeah, the chairman.
And Ben, the thing is that what people are saying today, the guy who had the committee is already on sanction for this. See, Ghana dinner.
Look,
about chair.
I don't even know why
one of the most wealthy men in our country. People don't know. But go ahead, Chairman.
Honestly, I don't even know why we're discussing this. Because this is a waste of my time. Total waste of my time. I mean, be clear with you. Look, I have said and I will continue to say. In fact, it was you, Tomalin, who had all this faith in the Liberian Senate. You used to tell me how we're coming to have the Senate like America, and there are all these senators who have gotten elected, and how we're going to hold the government feet to the fire, and this is going to happen, and all of that's going to happen. Look, if the Liberian Senate that is supposed to provide oversight, that is supposed to do checks and balance on the executive, is appealing and saying, "Oh, it was what was the thing I read?
Inadvertent
mistake or something, right? It was a mistake for development. I think that was something one of them said.
Inadvertent with a mistake with good intention.
Good intention. Thank you very much. That's the exact thing. Look, it's not going to change. Everybody need to get one dirty slap in the ear. This is the country that you have. I'm sorry, folks. This is the country that you have. This is the country you have. There are not new people coming to rescue Liberia from space. You are dealing with the same group of people. You elect a new bunch. There are a few of them there who may be wanting to stand up to do what the right thing is, right? You know, I was having a conversation with my friend Darius Dillon the other day, and I told him, when I saw him posting the thing, now I'm not pivoting from the public where I think I will come back to it. When I saw him posting about the yellow machine, I told him, I said, Darius, did I not tell you that you will not be able to critique or hold this government accountable? Because whether you like it or not, this is your government. So there is this struggle now that my friend is having. And now he see Amara is trying to steal the thunder as the light, what Mariah said, lantern
and New Light, right?
And New Light, yeah, the lantern and New Light.
The reason I bring that up is because, and I see my friend Robert, look, let me tell you something. Maybe I am a little pessimistic because I've been in this thing too long. Because all the optimism that I see my friend Lofa can have, Robert can have, that's the optimism I had also. This thing, whether we like it or not, you can't plant pepper and expect bitter ball. For us to change what we're talking about, we have to take a deep reflection of ourselves, look ourselves in the mirror, and see where we are wrong. But it's not going to change when we keep recycling. What was the campaign message of the Unity Party in 2017? What enticed the Liberian people to walk in poo-poo water to give Joseph Boyka a presidency? The fact that they changed in the lower house. Peabody, please mute yourself because we're getting feedback. The folks that they change. Peabody, we can still. I think I muted them. Yeah, okay. The folks that they change in the lower house, right? The people who replace them are the same people from the same communities. The national legislature has become a place for people to go and make money. It's not a place for service. Everybody wants to be the next person. So I am not going to waste my time on this issue because I expected this is what was going to happen. Look, and let me say this. If the public works minister broke the law, and the Senate is saying that if you broke the law, right? Ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
Not an excuse.
It's not an excuse for you to go. You can't say you go. There's a saying, man, where they say ignorance of the law is not an excuse or something like that.
It's no
right?
excuse.
It's no excuse.
They say the graveyard is paid for
defense.
good intention.
Yeah, so can you imagine the Liberia Senate is saying to the public works minister, yeah, you broke the law, but you broke the law because you had good intentions.
Okay.
And then you tell me this is a serious country?
They said that he broke the law.
But the armed robber who goes to steal because they want to feed themselves.
No, I'm serious. Then you tell me this is a serious country? Imagine the U.S. government. Imagine the U.S. Senate. Just imagine that happening. The people can throw people out of Congress for moral issues. Listen, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know where all this thing is, but
Ben, you surprised?
No, that's what
Certain Witherspoon a convicted criminal. Yeah. And he agreed to his crime. And he's supposed to say person the people say they made their good with the money. So the whole bunch of like people they pressing him on a daily basis and insulting us. Are you kidding me? That the same people telling you say they may broke the law, but he broke it for who cause? They
so
say
like I said,
he help people in like bro, don't want to where they say they get free money from you. So
for me, my last point on this, right? I don't know. Has it been established that the Minister of Public Works broke the law? Has it been?
I mean, from all indication, if they say that he apologized and then they're saying that they apologize.
Right. So what he apologized for and he didn't because he argued on the show that he didn't break any law.
The subcommittee on public works headed by our chair, they apologized on his behalf to the full plenary.
Lord, I beg you, man. There's somebody else talk.
Professor Kennedy, what are your thoughts about it?
Let me quick because soon we leaving. So,
how about you? You can get tired.
Yeah.
The
Liberian Senate is like the who's who on the sanctions list, but that's another show right there. So, how can it be good intention if you can't tell us how many jobs you're going to create? What was the good intention, right? How is it good intention? You can't tell us the economic impact of what you were doing. I don't think it was good intention. You're only saying so now because you got busted doing something that was completely illegal. But here's the point I want to make. If you don't take action, how will you discourage other people who are planning to do something similar? How do you discourage them? The reason you need to take action and there have to be some sort of a penalty is it discourages other people from doing the same thing. Because other people will argue, wait a second, you pardoned the man before
me. Eric Committee will beg for the sector minister.
Yes, president.
That was president.
Exactly. So you need to take action because contracts were awarded. You need to take action to stop people who are probably scheming right now to do the same thing, to stop them dead in their tracks right now. If you don't take action, you're opening up Pandora's box. So I'm with Ben on this. I see George, Robert messaging and saying he still believes he's going to be coming on.
People may believe. Yeah,
Robert still believes, but I'm telling you, at some point in time, someone has to draw a line in the sand and say, look, we're not going to take this kind of nonsense, right? But here it is. How are you going to speak issues of morality when you're talking to a Senate that has the who's who on sanctions list? So there you have it.
So let me ask
you still got hope in the Senate?
I come in, but Ken, do you believe that and somebody will fall in sanction before the government leaves power? You think so?
Say it again.
Now. Yeah.
Do you think that anybody in this government will fall into sanction before the government leaves power?
My man, I would bet the car on that one. I give you 7 months.
What you said?
I give you 7 months. In 7 months, because by November, December, that's when the U.S. started
anti-corruption week.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes. Because there's just way too many things happening right now. And these are probably people the U.S. government may already have their eye on. They just not be put in the position now where they probably not take their little small corruption 101 to corruption 707. So they are totally exposed right now. And I can practically guarantee you someone is going to hit the sanctions list.
And let me say this briefly, 30 seconds. This is also an indictment. This is also you providing, you know what they call equating to providing evidence against yourself? This is what they're doing.
Yeah, because,
this is what they're doing.
Yeah, what they did, just to beg for the...
And you will see this thing come up in the next report. The next State Department report, you will see this exact situation will be highlighted to say the Liberian Senate
is corrupt.
Found something, something dubious, but they came and they apologized because they said they think we were going to.
Ben is right. The 2023 U.S. Human Rights Report that touches on corruption, I bet this thing is going to pop up in that Human Rights Report dealing with corruption.
Yeah, because look, man. Like everyone have said, why you bet on that country? You can. Like everyone have said, you dealing with somebody who already have told the public work minister, hey, just make sure you keep our thing in the bag, we'll guide you back.
Yes.
Just make sure. The envelope will be there. So they'll put it at you. How can somebody be on sanction, be heading a committee like that?
Public works to oil contract.
How can somebody who are placed on sanction for corruption, then he heading a committee on public work, and yet comes the first bump. They not sign a shitty deal. Can you imagine? Is that a serious country?
But can somebody be on sanction twice? You can put on sanction again? Can it happen? Can it be sanction?
Professor,
our chair. He's on sanction.
Can we sanction again?
Of course. Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, re-sanction. The only thing they can do now is the British government.
But you had it.
Yeah. The British government is copying the US right now, and the Canadian government is going to try to do this thing. Yeah. So they're trying to put people on sanctions on the British government.
Can you repeat that?
What, someone repeat? Oh, he left. Okay, go ahead now.
Yeah, look, I feel the frustration. All right, but I'm gonna try to be hopeful here. Okay, Ghana was in the same situation in the 70s. Okay, Ecuador recently. I mean, the whole country was full of gangster. The economy was terrible. Everybody gave up on Ecuador. Today, Ecuador is a shining star in South America. They just hosted the Miss Universe conference. They have they reduced the gang violence by almost 100%. Now, the part, Ben, that I disagree with you guys and Professor Kennedy and the Lofa Julius, y'all see these same people and y'all go and y'all support them. Like you said, what you said, Billabong can grow on a pepper tree. All right. Liberia have 5 million people. Okay. You can't tell me that no good people there, that everybody in Liberia think the same, everybody in Liberia is corrupt, everybody in Liberia. I beg to differ with that. So I want to ask you guys, how do you feel going back to the same pepper and the Billabong analogy, that you go and you support the pepper bench? Because I remember all of y'all, one way or the other, y'all, nobody here said, you know what, let me be wrong, let me just pick somebody that's not part of this bunch. Like in other countries that would do and say, all right, we had the same people, we had the Abuche, we had the Americans, we had the Joseph Boaka. Let me look beyond those people and let me just pick a random person, regardless of the status. Maybe thinks, it will be our blue sky. But why you pick the same people from the Timony to the Dr. Peabody, to the Lofa Julius, to the Ben Sanvee, to the Turga? All of your years supported the same, either the party or the leaders from the same party. Alice Jones did not. Okay, Clarence Muniba did not. Maybe there was something that we were saying that now you should come back and thank us and say, you know what? Maybe Alice was right, that the CDC government, the Unity Party government, they're not the only people that can lead Liberia. Or, but why are you discouraged now after you pick the pepper branch? And then when Alice was talking, y'all was saying, well, in America, you know Liberia. You who are in Liberia, you who know the Liberian politics. Alice Jr., where also I can tell y'all and tell you what not to do and be right about it. But you who know all the players and things, you always come out wrong. And I want to know how you do your thinking and your analysis.
Can I respond, please?
Understand your thinking.
No, Lofa, I beg you. Lofa, I beg you. Give me 30 seconds. I need to respond. Every time, the two of y'all can be going. Every time he can do the thing, and I can't be on the show. I need to deal with him.
Yeah, you're right. He does it purposely because he wants to be on this, and he wants to be the center of attention. I'm not even going to stop in.
Yeah, but Alex, let me say this to you.
Okay. Yeah.
And you ask a very profound question on why did you support, right, one of the sides. Look, I have consistently said this is not only just about the presidency. It is about the presidency because I think the presidency is extremely powerful. It's the most powerful position in the country. If you want to touch, like Cummings normally say, that's the only job where you can help every Liberian, right? That's the only job that you can get into, and you will be able to touch the life of every Liberian if you know what you're doing and how you go about doing it, right? But there is this notion also that, and I am of the proponent that there is, and people on this platform has disagreed with me on that. Grace has disagreed with me a bunch. I think Lofa has also disagreed that, look, whether we like it or not, these two institutions, for all of our last elections that we've had, right? Empirically, from an evidence-based standpoint, 90 or 96% of the Liberian people decide between these two institutions. My only conversation has to do, how do we figure out a way? It's like me looking at it from the Democratic Party and the Republican Party standpoint, right? The Democratic Party at one point in time in this country was the party that supported slavery. In fact, many people don't know Martin Luther King was a card-holding Republican. But the Democratic Party over the years and over the decades evolved into becoming the party that gave birth to the first Black president in this country. So I don't think it's necessarily just about the institutions. It's about the individuals. Like me, I have been very adamant. I have not supported President Joe Boaka in anything that he has wanted to run for. I've been consistent on that. Because when I look at his track record as a leader, I have not seen him lead the way I want to see the Liberian presidency, the way I want to see somebody leading the Liberian presidency. George Weah is far from perfect. But guess what? I've seen George Weah make decisions. I see him make decisions, whether it's a bad decision own up to it and say, you know what, this is the decision I made. Two imperfect choices. But when the vast majority of the Liberian people give you a choice, and then you say, at the end of the day, guess what? I've only supported these two men in runoffs where there's nobody else on the ballot. I didn't support President George Weah in the first round. I did not. Okay? When you have two people on the ballot, I say you're telling me I shouldn't vote. Because that's the situation that was presented to us. And I've always said that if you were to give me that choice again, I will make the same decision. Because one, have enormous record that I can look back at, that while all the things are happening today, I'm not surprised, because I knew that my friends from the Unity Party were only missing what they had, and they just wanted to get it back. That's the only thing. So, Alex, to answer your question, I would say this is my thought process, and we must also understand the country that we're dealing with. When Liberians decide that they're sticking on something, they stick on that thing. How do we figure out a way to work around it? Is the solution that we need to find. Do we infiltrate these political parties? Do you go and join Unity Party? Do you go and join CDC? Or do you want to start a whole new party just to make a statement and not win an election? My thing is, let's find a way where a middle ground can be met and see how we can have a larger conversation. But this notion that, we just supposed to ignore the fact that 90% of the country have decided that this is the route that they want to go. You know, we can't deny that. Even Clarence Moniba, yes, he's a part of Lino, but you think I can bet my bottom dollar if Clarence Moniba is running for president in 2029, he will be looking to forge an alliance with either one of these political parties in some kind of way. So that's what I'm saying.
So
and I disagree with you.
Ben, let me just
answer my question.
Alex, hold on one second. Alex, hold on one second. Let us respond. Hold on one second. Let us respond.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not going to change the topic because, again, like I told Ben, again, Alex whole style here, or his idea here is, how can I attract a little bit of attention to myself?
Look, I don't need any platform to give me attention, okay?
Like if you don't, Alex, don't interrupt me. Don't do that. I sat quietly and listened to you spill out what you thought you knew, but unfortunately, for some reason you were misled. It was clear on several occasions where we made it clear to Liberians. The options were there. We provided 3 options to Liberians: an Alexander Cummings, a Clarence Moniba, and of course, Councillor Telwan Gongolo. Consistently, we told Liberians we had a better option, okay? We had choices to actually pick from. Now, the reason why a young man like Alex would never be mentioned amongst those who we are considering with, a young man who can barely compose himself to contribute to a discourse and be effective, to convince me as to why I believe, or I should even consider him, when a young man who sits on the platform and contribute to an interview and admitted during the interview that, look, if you give me the opportunity to be the minister at the Capital Bank or wherever, I will get out of the race. I don't want to be the president next time. What makes you think that I'm going to waste my time even considering you? Because at this point, your entire intention here is not to really be a part of change. What you're doing here is buying your face or your chance to make sure that you're considered. This is what you're doing. I'm not wasting my time on an Alex. I'm looking for a formidable force that we will join rank and get rid of those individuals who are currently in office that are part of the stealing. I'm not looking for a young man who simply want to sit and just put his face out there and run out and just spew out all of these gibberish. I'm not into that. We are here looking for transformation. We are here looking to move Liberia forward. I'm not here to get into your little social media back and forth, self-seeking recognition programs. I don't want to be a part of that. We want to give options to Liberians that is far better off based on your track record. not based on your desire to be acknowledged, not based on your desire to come across as being boastful or whatever you want to present yourself. No, there were options that were far better off than you. And by the way, did you really expect a Dr. Peabody to go to Liberia who took his money, register to vote for a man who didn't even register in the election? Did you expect Tomalin to have gone to Liberia?
I mean, you got.
Sorry, I think you're making it personal about Alex.
Okay, let me.
I need to respond to Ben.
I think you're making it personal about Alex.
I didn't think.
I don't think we need to go that route.
Yeah. No, I'm not even going to respond to him.
Meanwhile, okay.
Let me. Hey, we're gonna be 30 seconds. Please indulge me 30 seconds.
You'll stop the personal.
All right, Ben. I don't think you understood my question. Okay, and you tried to bring a comparison between the American democracy and the Liberian democracy. You are male of political science. They are two different. America does not have multi-party democracy.
Yes, they do.
Okay? They have a two-party system.
No, Alex. No, let me correct you.
All right.
No, Alex, let me correct you. When there's election in this country, you know how many people run for president? Almost 50 people run for president.
What I'm saying. Okay, we can debate
there
that.
There is multi-party democracy. We can debate that. Alex, you get your 30 second back, Chief. Let me just clear the air. Like I said, Alex, there is multi-party democracy in America.
Okay.
There is the Green Party, there's the Libertarian Party. In fact, Trump went to go get endorsement from the Libertarian Party the other day. They were booing him. There are all these parties, but the American people, and it's almost the same trend that I see the Liberian people trending in. They decide that, you know what? There are two major political parties. You either got to be a Republican or a Democrat to be president of this country. An independent don't even stand
let me Ben, hold on here. Because you get the point I'm trying to make, because forget the semantics. America has an electoral college. American political system is quite different. Listen,
you're wrong.
We have get the point. Why you let me finish, man? Does Liberia have electoral college?
No, Alex. You see, if people make this electoral college,
you got to listen to the question. You got to listen to the question before you can answer. You have the floor. I listen to you.
Alex.
That's the problem I have with this question.
This is my last time interrupting you. This is my last time interrupting you. Alex, this is also another teachable moment, right?
Okay.
People make this electoral college scene like it's a whole system. Like this electoral college is a bunch of old white men sitting down in one room that makes a determination on who becomes president. No, the electoral college is just the distribution and the compaction of the states. That's all it is. And they put it in a way, yes, they are electors, but more than likely the electors of those states, right, don't go against the popular mandate of the people in those states. Yes, it is possible for somebody to win. It is possible for somebody to win the popular vote and don't win the electoral college. It's because of the way the states are structured. The way the states are structured, if you were to say, Arab, one man, one vote, right? And let me tell you that because I did sufficient research on this thing.
Taking away the whole show, Ben.
No, Alex.
You want to educate me on the American democracy? I was a campaign manager.
And this will help, right? If they were to do one man, one vote in a sense of simple majority in this country, the Democrats will always win the election. Because you know why? They always win California. And California alone, when you put all of them together, they always take the majority vote. So this thing about electoral college, there is multi-party democracy here.
Okay, so Ben, you missed the whole entirety, the essence of my question. You're going down only because you heard me use.
Alex,
you heard me use one word. Ben had gone 5 minutes.
I'm muting myself.
We agreed to take call. Let the folks come in when you close.
Can I finish before? Can you give me?
But let him finish, man. I think we'll be fair. I'm sorry.
You interrupted me.
I'm appealing. Let him finish.
I won't be more than.
I interrupted him. Sorry, Alex.
Okay, Ben, the point I'm making here is the United States have a different system of democracy than Liberia. You can't argue that point. We have a different structure of government than Liberia. For instance, we don't have governors in Liberia that are elected, and we don't have state governments and things like that. We don't have electoral college. We don't have all those things. The only point I want you to understand, just that French democracy is different from British democracy. It's different the way they conduct themselves. Now, all I wanted you to, we all can agree on that point.
No,
there are
we can't agree on
similarities.
that. I disagree.
Okay, all right,
All right.
fine.
So
But
can
the
we
point
get
I'm trying to
those
say here is this, right? All right, Ben, forget the second round. Forget the second round. Forget Alex Jones, because as far as Lofa Julius is concerned, I know there's this antipathy or hatred, and that's his problem. I'm not even going
You
to
see,
go
when
with
you
it.
mention
All
my
right?
name when I
Talk to
respond to you,
somebody.
then you say
Let
it's
me
hatred.
talk to somebody that
When
even
you
if knowledge is somewhere, he will lose it because he can't see beyond when he have a
Alex,
differences with
when
somebody.
you
But what I'm
misdecide
trying to say
guys,
is
let me
there were
progress.
other
Let me
people in the
progress.
race.
Okay,
There were a
let's
lot
not
of
do
people
that.
in the race.
I will not allow Alex. I will not allow
Finally,
Alex
like I
to
said,
try
I'm
to
not even going
misconstrue
30
Wait,
seconds.
let me back and forth. You take what the
I'm not
shit.
gonna.
Let
No,
me
I'm not
go.
gonna allow Alex
But
to
what
do
I'm saying,
that.
but why
Alex
y'all
have
keep
an impact
interrupting
on
me?
so
In
Okay,
one
let me
minute
many
time,
progress.
I can make my
Let me
point. I
progress.
can make
Let
my
me
point in
progress.
1
Let's
minute
make
time.
progress.
Then we'll go
We
5
not
minutes.
let
Progress.
The
Alex
other
to the
will
stage
come.
so we
In
can
Let
1
me
get
minute, I
to.
can
progress.
make my point.
I'm not gonna allow you to do that, Alex. It's not gonna
Yeah.
fly.
Let me
Sorry.
But you
progress.
No, stop
interrupting
Okay,
me.
that.
What's
guys.
the point of having a
Stop that.
discussion on an
Let me progress,
intellectual
Nothing that has
please.
forum
to do with
No,
that.
we're
when
not.
we
We're not
Y'all
doing
interrupt
don't, y'all
each
don't,
judges
y'all
other?
and
don't do the show
reviewers
like
now.
this,
Right,
man.
let
Y'all
us
stop
not
it,
How
guys.
are
change.
we
Let
going
us
to learn
not
from each
divert
other? Or you
the
know it
point of
all?
Stop it.
discussion. Let us
Just
not
stop.
divert from the
Tell the
actual
person
reason
attack.
we came on here
Let
tonight.
me progress.
It's not about you,
I'm not
Alex.
attacking Ben. I'm not
Yeah,
attacking
okay,
anybody.
guys.
No,
Let me
Alex,
progress.
Ben
you're
asked a
attacking.
question.
You're attacking
Ben
me on numerous
said
Okay.
he's
occasions.
giving up the
You
system that
attack me on
Liberia, the
numerous
Peabody.
occasions.
And I
I
was
have
simply asking him a
Guys, you
All right,
gotta
question.
stop it,
let
man.
him make
People
his
Okay,
watching
point,
us,
that's
man.
then you
okay.
can tell him. You can
You're
talk
not
to get
interested
off.
in what I had to say, so
Okay,
fine.
let
You're
me,
right.
let me. Okay, before we go to the line, let me say this, right? I know today people ask. I know the vice president is in Sierra Leone, and he wanted. Let me just share the vice president. We spoke a few minutes ago. There's something called the skill up nutrition. In 65 countries in the world, right? And they honor the various vice presidents of the 65 countries. So Vice President Koo is in Sierra Leone to reduce mortality among women, the mothers in the 65 countries. And Sierra Leone have done a very good job. Sierra Leone, the program in Sierra Leone is very attractive, and people are so they're in Sierra Leone right now with his team to make sure that they can copy that model and bring it to Liberia. It is called the skilling up nutrition to reduce mortality among our mothers, so that the child, when they born the child won't be malnourished. You know, all this stuff. They help is training them. So that's why he won. Let people know why he's proposing Sierra Leone right now. He had a picture with the Sierra Leonean president today. That's why they're there for. He and the deputy foreign minister, Dr. Nye. So it's a good program. Hope Liberia can benefit from it and can help our mothers in Liberia. So, but we can go to the lines now. Let's go, Heron. Let's take some calls, guys. Let's make some progress.
And I tell you, you've been following very closely. It is now time to put in your calls to 077-728-5961. Better stay 077-701-7635. These are the two numbers to call.
Wait,
They're going to be live here on the closing argument. 077-701-7635. 077-728-5961. You can place in your call to that two numbers, and then you're going to be live here on the closing argument. 077-701-7635. And now go to the phone line. To the very first caller. Hello. We lost that caller. 077-017-635. 077-728-5961. These are the two numbers. You can place in your call to any of them. You're going to be live here tonight to make a point on the closing argument. Oh my word. What's going on? 777-017-635. To this caller. Hello. How are you? And from where you join us?
Yeah, question.
I mean, you're very, very low. We are not getting you. Please be audible. You have to drive away from the radio. Go ahead. No. To this caller. Hello. And from where you join us? Please be audible. 1 minute. Ben speaking from Banavia State. Oh, we lost Ben. Ben go away.
Ben.
So let's call right on. How are you? Name from where you join us? Oh my god. The line is out of the gym. 777-017-635. So let's call right. Hello.
Hello.
Your name from where you join us? 1 minute. Achievement District number 17. Go ahead, Achi.
Thank you to our senior brothers in the village people. I'm a second of you, but I thought to little bit concur with Reverend Ben as to the voter survey in this country or the perception of the voters in this country. People talk about how Kennedy is the Congo and other people, but it's a place like as as compared, there is not compared now to the environment, but there are certain parties in this country and certain individuals in this country that are given to this particular the PDP and the United Party. I don't care how the other parties come, but these are the two parties that people always there will always draft people to them.
Okay.
So we agree. That have been said. Beto, and the most you can Beto the second evil, then
Thank you so much. I hold that people another call. 077-017-635. We're gonna take you and then you talk for the long. So let's call up. Hello. Your name from where you join us? Go ahead. I'm doing okay, boss man. Go ahead.
Guys, I don't know if the audience can hear anything though. Henry, we can't hear anything. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, don't be, we can hear really. I think that somebody told me the solution is to go along a lane line. Well, I bro trying to get out of the line.
Yeah. Guys, let's just kind of, let's not hurt the audience ears.
Yeah. So let's call up. Hello. How are you? Your name from where you join us?
thank you very much.
I get no call.
Thank you. This is Sam. We are calling from resident.
Okay, Sam.
Okay, then let me say to the folks abroad. Actually, I'm very well when it comes to providing information to the Liberian people. But this is this government people. You want to say, you told us that you have followed the contract. You told us that for 2 years you said to go, you come to the presidency, it will not be business as usual. But what we try to notice, I think business as usual was better than what we are today. We find 15 members of the cabinet that know people are still with our portfolio and announcing to the public that this new yellow review will arrive in Liberia. Then today the information minister is sharing all sorts of information telling us that they are not being concluded. Exactly. How will you negotiate on behalf of the country without telling the legislator?
Thank you. Thank you. That whole you thank you. We can keep you on the line 077-017-635. 077-017-635 is the number call and they're gonna be live. 077-017-635. So let's call 1 minute, please. Your name from where you join us?
Yeah, good evening.
How are you, sir? Your name from where you join us?
Constant. And I join you from Mali County to be specific.
You have to get away from the radio a little bit.
Okay, I think but let me be honest to your analysts, they are articulated well. But this country like Nigeria, when you are not in government, you will talk a lot of things. And tomorrow when you come in government, you will not be able to do even a single implementation. There are people who are talking. The analysts, they are very good at talking. But when it comes to implementation, when you just put them in certain places, you will not be able to implement. Can you imagine? Even Congo,
No.
when you were giving job in government, you have fully performed. So that people who are talking,
Okay. Thank you. 777-017-635. We are go out talking, but we are not go out implementing. 077-017-635. To the scholar. The name from where you join us?
Yeah.
How are you?
Coming on?
I'm doing okay though. What's it for you?
I thank God.
Okay, make a point. 1 minute, please.
Yeah. I'm entering the show. I want to say thank you for the topic discussion. And precisely, I'm calling from the diaspora of the Jonesville, the Jonesville Township, Mazzola County, chapter. And blessing us then. Former deputy coordinator for political
Go ahead, forget about all of these things.
Yeah, with the topic on the discussion, my brother, I want to say something. When it comes to the issue of politics in Nigeria, we don't really understand the support. The different people, they are lesser than the different people like brother. What's up, brother? There's some people who don't have sense.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you for.
Thank you so kindly. You call, go to the point, forget about all of these things. You the chairman, you the this, go to the point because it lies out of the gym is 0777017-635. To the scholar. Hello? And if from where you join us, 1 minute, please.
Yeah, my name is Stephen. I'm calling from
Kakata Magibi County.
There's no information minister for your expression. Because when I'm coming out of high school, I can remember that from the president's press secretary to the information minister, from the information minister to EAPC. But not everybody is the information minister. Everybody, there's no coordination in the Ministry of Information. So it's completely rotten. No information. You know, you're coming through. See, so you have this local government for your way to the president, local government, the minister of the president first, the press secretary refuses to information minister. The information minister to EAPC.
Sorry, sir. I take this caller. Hello, your name from where you join us? Hello, your name from where you join us?
Quite dear, man.
You should call it today, man.
Yeah.
The phone not
Henry,
working.
let's call it a day. We can't hear the callers, Henry. Let's just call it out.
John, we're not getting you.
Let's go out there. Look, we'll try to get that landline phone. Like, bro.
We need a lot of work. We need a lot of work. Man.
So we'll take just 3 more and then we'll get back to the panel.
Henry, you're not hearing us? Henry, you're not hearing us? It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Henry won't hear it. People bad home.
Yeah. Okay, I'll send you that. Okay. I'm not sure.
Someone can hear your message on the phone on the show.
My daughter called me, everybody. My daughter called me. I said on my show.
Yeah, let me. I just want to do my thing quick.
Yeah, give me a chance. You should show something in there.
Tommy, mute yourself. I just want to say, and I want to say something in regards to to what Alex said, and the caller, I couldn't hear anything. The caller, Alex, and I mean, for me, I respect you, Alex. I want to say, and you and Lofa, you need to figure out, maybe you need to have a beer or something. I don't know what the hell. The two of you can't go, because Lofa seems to, but he just say he not interested, Alex. I mean, hey, listen, if Alex is, if Alex mounts a formidable campaign and do things, I would consider supporting Alex. I don't think he's a bad choice. I think, I just think he has some real radical ideas that, sometimes, Liberia is like a baby, right? You got to give it small doses in certain things now. But I do agree that certain soul need bad medicine, right? So, but to just buttress what I was saying earlier, and I want to repeat, I think our system is set up in a way, yes, it is multi-party democracy, but we are now literally heavily leaning towards a situation where we have these two political parties. You see it in Ghana, you see it in Nigeria, you see it in Sierra Leone, you see it in all of these other countries. And I don't think and you may have different leaders at different times in these parties, but that what makes them, what makes them just individuals. So I will only say, I think political institutions now in Liberia need to start to look at collaborating more, figuring out how we can. I hope the Liberty Party, which is my party, will have a hard conversation with herself and say, hey, where do we find ourselves in this new dispensation? Where do we want to go? How do we want to achieve the things that we want to achieve? And sometimes you never know, you may be coming from a position of strength in your negotiation. Same thing with you, movement to make Liberia better. You seem to, I mean, at this point, I want to believe you like a political action committee. You're not a political you're not a political party yet. You should be able to have those hard conversations with yourself to say, hey, can I join the Unity Party, or can I collaborate with the Unity Party, or collaborate with the CDC and take my ideas there? Because from what I see, I don't know if Liberians are going to give a third party or a third force the opportunity that we've tried it in 3 successive elections, and it just have not worked. The first person was Charles Bromskin. You saw, and it continuously happened consistently where those third party candidates would do well on their first try, but their second try, it looked like they're not doing it, they're doing well. Then came Alex Cummings with the same situation. So for me, I think that's just my thought. I may be wrong, it's my opinion, right? I may be wrong, but just based on the experience that I've had when it comes to our politics, I think we need to sit down and have a very frank conversation with ourselves on how we want to engage these political institutions, because at the end of the day, we will only be screaming, and becoming participants in our political process. And these two political institutions will continue to win, and all we'll be doing will be sitting on radio talking, and they will be doing what they have to do. That is just how I think about it.
Yeah, very, very good, Ben. And like I said, I'm a big fan of yours. Okay. And don't see what I say towards you as an, disrespect or anything.
Oh, no.
About your leadership. You were one of those who inspired me to get into politics years ago.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a business person. I had nothing to do with, but I watched you try to take on the establishment as a young man. Okay. And I admire that. So you don't even know that. That's why I'm so hard on you. I will continue to be hard on you. Okay. But what you just said,
form our party. Let me hear you form one party.
Well, but I think you're behind because I'm already working with other parties already. I think you way behind the curve here to say that Alex Jones is not considering looking for collaborating with other parties. So you missed the boat.
I know, right?
But yeah, where I would say this, right? At one point, like bro, we had True Party, and that was it. And everybody thought True Party would never die down. At another point, like bro, we had what you call NDPL. Then we had NPP. Let me tell you something. The fact is, Unity Party and CDC would die like any other party too. Once the leader goes, they're done. All right. The same way how you can say at one point, you had the Liberty Party was a very formidable party. Okay. The passing of your Senator bearer, Councilor Bronsky, who I'm related to. I don't think you know that. That's what our party has just become now buffer for other parties. Not, I don't think they put up a serious challenge in the last election. But what I urge you, Ben, and the rest of the young people is to think outside the box. I think Liberia has a way of making people believe that This is it. That's how it is. That's how you got to play. And if you don't play that way, then I mean, most of the times when I talk to people in Liberia, that's how they think. Oh, this is that Liberia, yeah, that's how we do things. So that's why you'll be always confused of the way I approach things and people that look for, because I'm not approaching it from the traditional sense, from the way they're used to seeing how you're supposed to enter politics. Then you're supposed to have a political godmother or godfather, and then you're supposed to keep quiet. I just coming in and saying, no, let's shake the system up. That hold other people, the very powerful people accountable. Instead of, because we don't hold the powerful people accountable. Our year, Lofa Julius criticizing everybody, but I would never hear him criticize Alex Cummings, which is a party that he's part of, instead of at least publicly. But he will claim to be very independent. He just called the representatives and the senator thieves. He will use the harshest term. But if Alex just says one word against a politician or somebody that he doesn't like, then I'm disrespectful to them. So you see the hypocrisy. And I watch these things all the time. So Ben, I'm glad that we have a show like this that forces people from different political ideology, to confront each other. Because for a long time, every political people stay in the camp and they get a praises in the camp and they feel good about themselves in the camp and everybody likes you and everybody knows your name. Now you own a closing argument, you're going to meet somebody that completely opposed to everything you stand for, your political leader, he thinks as highly as you do, and so that friction coming, and that's what I think is need in an emerging country for change.
Thank
But
you.
I don't take it personal. I don't listen to what people. If I were doing that by now, I won't be here. My
Sugar.
popularity and the people who respect me and follow me, they're not gonna listen to a Lofa Julius. He's a nobody.
My man, you're attacking the man again. No, you
So,
can't
Oh
do
no,
that.
no,
Yeah.
no, no, no! Y'all like
Sugar,
to
give
talk.
you a
When,
question.
Yeah.
when
Sugar,
Alex
come
do
here.
that,
Yeah.
when he carry on that, then
Yes,
he wants
he's a
me.
nobody.
He wants me to babysit him. I'm not here to pamper
Sugar,
He's
no
a
come
man.
here.
nobody.
Alex.
I mean, let's talk out do a closing. The two of you, my man, I will pay for beer for the two of you, man. We'll have a beer
No,
summit.
I got. Alex, I'm a
No,
PA. I got you.
You think anybody gonna listen to him?
you know. Please, Alex, 1 minute. Now, the first thing is, Ben. I don't know if any of you know that today's session was also presided over by Senator Darius Dillon. So you want to put this thing squarely on the feet of the former pro tem, but also there was a presiding officer who we all know, if it were the past, he would be citing the laws, he would be running from one radio show to the other radio show and all of that. Today he was presiding in the absence of the president pro tem, and he allowed that thing to happen. He
Oh,
was there,
the
and they
public
all
something?
knew.
Wow.
Yes, Senator Darius Dillon was the presiding when this happened, and he closed his eyes on it. You can't clearly come and say there was a violation, but you pardon someone for violating the laws. Why are we then? Why are we going to court with some people? Why are we using asset recovery to go look for things when we should just pardon everybody in the country?
I saw recovery,
If
but that
the
one dead.
Senate can start this kind of thing by pardoning people who do wrong, but let's start pardoning people everywhere. The people who are corrupt, the people who the government is supposed to take to court, the people who will be audited at different ministry and agency and be held accountable for their action, we should begin pardoning, because the Senate is taking a step now to start pardoning people when they do the wrong thing instead of the Senate. Because I say to people all of the time, our actual trust and confidence this time in the history of the country lies in our legislature. If the legislature fails us, then we're done. The legislature is our only hope. You never will hear people sitting in the executive and saying anything. The only place you and myself can go when we have issues, say, my man, I got this one late document. Please use it on the floor, and some of the minister or the other person and the other person. That the legislature, we can do that. Most of the time when I get some hard code document, I send it to a few friends on Capitol Hill and say, can you please look at this document? Can you please put it for me? Can you please call the actors? If the legislature now that we're supposed to depend on, we start calling people and pardoning them, then we are in. Seriously. And we're in trouble. I mean, there were, I think people were referring even to the CDC, right? The CDC has got some good number of people sitting at the Senate. In fact, I expected people like Senator McGill today to have stood his ground because he raised this issue. He raised the issue of the public works minister. So why was it that Senator McGill would be in our session and allow this individual to be pardoned? The other day, I was told that Senator McGill walked out of session because I think the LRA, the Revenue Authority, was requesting, I think, up to over 5% of any amount that they would generate from the country. They say that what they want to be using for the Senate. Almost like the way the asset recovery can do, the amount you raise, sometimes you say you want 10, 15%. So I think the new LRA boss was addressing the Senate and he was talking about, can we just make this thing at least 5% so our people can be more aggressive and robust? And, he raised that issue and Senator McGill was so pissed and he walked out of the session. Now, Senator McGill will walk out of a session because LRA say they want 5% of any money that they generate from the country. He was over there holding somebody accountable today, and instead of them holding that person fully accountable for their action, they pardon him. You get a man doing more wrong things. The other day, you had one of the panelists on the show very mad that this same man did everything to get no objection from the PPCC. He violated every PPCC law, went and he squeezed the PPCC boss to get no objection. And you know what's happening because of his action? Because of his action, Mo Ali did it the other day as well. Follow the scene, scene, got no objection. Every government agency now doing the same thing. PPCC is becoming a completely toothless bulldog because everybody understands sending power alone now. Everybody making an emergency now. So for Mo Ali to just put treatment in our water, to put treatment in the water, there's so much emergency that he must do sourcing and get somebody 55,000. So you see where we're heading. So when you invite people like Mo Ali to the Senate now for all his action a few days, in fact, this guy is publicly attacking the media for holding him accountable. Why Mo Ali? Every day they met. This is the same front page Africa that he's so much trusted, that he's so much respected, that everything that used to come from front page. I remember when front page posted our story about the first trip that Tuem made out of the country as Minister of Finance, where he rode business class or first class, one of them. Everybody was running with her. But do you know Mo Ali's latest trip to Ghana a few days? He rode business class. And I challenge him to say that loud. He rode business class to Ghana on Monday and came back on Wednesday. Business class. People who were on the flight with him were saying that. They are a complete opposite of what they can say. Then they pass around and say, why are people talking now? Why are people talking now? So my question to them many times is, why are they not talking now? So they thought that when they're not talking in the country will go silent because you're not talking. So say you're not talking, we're all supposed to not talk. No, because you're not talking. I think Mr. Dr. Peabody and Sultan talk. The Bible says, they say if you say, Christ say he will even rise up stones to praise him if it will reach to that point. Because you're not saying nothing in the country because you enjoy it and you're saying that in your comfort. So you think that nobody else is supposed to talk in the country. No, people will still rise up to talk. And this is what is going to happen. So I think what happened today in our Senate was completely a sad day. The Senate needs to recalibrate. We depend on them. This country is actually depending on the legislature. This is the country's only hope. The executive is finished. The executive part is done. The legislature will depend on and partly the judiciary if they can help us. But at least the people depend on this legislature. They have to double up and man up to these people who want to put this country down the drain. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Yes. So that
You're close, man.
yeah, because
Gotta go.
time. But I think I want closer to. I have to go. I gotta go pick up my
Oh,
daughter.
Lofa gotta close.
I want to go pick up my daughter. I gotta go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So guys, again, let me say, what happened to that legislature with the public works stuff? It was an eye opener for everyone. We gotta open our eyes. It's a serious thing that the entire plenary can just pick somebody off the hook. Even Mo Ali, I talked today. Mo Ali justified his action at the PPCC. Mo Ali said that there's nowhere the Liberian Business Registration will give a company that involved with chemicals, that license to bring chemical in the country, if that company was not legitimate, and so forth. And the reason why he asked the PPC to give him that once article or one stop, authority to award a contract. He said, well, it was emergency situation, the water issue, and that he said he will do. He had to do. He'll do it again. He was very adamant. And
Everybody like
said he'll do it again. And I said, well,
emergency. Everybody emergency.
we'll continue to call you guys out, and let people know when the time comes. People will be held accountable. Right now, all we can do, my friends, is that to call them out, expose them. So what happened? What happened with this? The truck, the 285 truck machine, because of the outcry, public outcry. You saw what happened. Everything changed quickly, and I said it. I said I can tell you in less than 2 hours, something will change. And exactly what happened today. The government came and do damage control. So we'll continue to push. And lastly, I just want to say happy birthday to Councillor Charlene Bromskin, Wadi Power, and my own young comrade Martin Colley today their birthdays. Wish all of them happy birthday and best wishes and God's blessing. Guys, great show. Let's keep on holding the people accountable, do what we got to do. Thanks a lot, man. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Thank you, guys. Who's closing? That's it?
Do you want to go?
Let me close. Let me do my closing, man. God, look. If you're looking for hope in the Senate, let me tell you, you're gonna get fucked. I'm telling you. You got a sanctioned senator who's the chairman on public works. And you expect Giddings to go there, and he said Giddings was you expect him to even chastise Giddings. It's not going to happen. We were on this show the other day. I was talking about it was just too early to sign all the nine agreement in less than 90 days. 22.4 million contract in less than 90 days. He said they were so. Just to find out that he violated most of the PTC laws and things. And then you got the very Senate who should be protecting the Liberian people, telling you they want to forgive and appealing to forgive. I mean, in the first place, the chairman on public work is known internationally as a very corrupt criminal because that's how he had the sanction. You got Big Ball One stayed there. He's not chairman on public corporation and all of that. ECOWAS representative, Big Ball One, Alex Tyler, all of them. You think anything will come out of that place? It's good. Like we're put already. They continue to vote criminals, and these people will make money out of them. That's the problem. They continue to vote for people who will not seek their interest. The first thing the people going back is to recalibrate. They were already broke, selling cars and homes around here. They back again to maintain their home. Nothing will happen. Nothing will come out of that. That's what the Liberian people want. Every day they fool you. You jump on the street. They get you T-shirt. You're running all behind them, yelling and stuff like that. You know, but ain't nothing going to happen. Breaking law in Liberia is a norm, man, because the laws is not credible enough, so people don't even do anything about it. You know, somebody can steal, kill, and still walk free, and that's why Liberia is like. Until we put our thoughts together, we'll continue to do the same thing, and that's why we're saying you can't have somebody who's sanctioned and say he's chairman on public work, interviewing somebody who already violated the laws and stuff like that. You think you'll get anything from them? Please, man. I think that's my closing. But let me say here that I must commend the vice president. I met him a while ago, and I really pressed the case for the Liberian refugee in Ghana, and also the president to see them bringing the folks home. There's nowhere like home. If you die, come and die home. So I've really been impressed seeing buses taking people from Ghana and carrying them back home. I've really been impressed with that our efforts did not go in vain. So, guys, that's my closing, man. You just do it, and we're out of here.
Well, I mean, it was a great show. And I must admit, I think this is part of the reason why we commit ourselves to being here as often as we can. I don't think we should fall for the distractions because there's a bigger picture ahead of us. Let's be honest here. We have a population of about 5 million people, and they need to be rescued and not to be excused. And what I noticed happening today in Liberia is a group of men and women who thought to use this opportunity to enrich themselves, and they use the word rescue to get themselves to positions where they can reach themselves, because the previous group of people who came on, they benefited from a system, and a failed system, a system that have refused to hold people accountable. So I think the picture ahead of us is bigger, and let us continue to highlight these things that have to do with accountability. Corruption is at the highest in Liberia. And that's part of the reason why young people, they are not looking to becoming the next engineer, the next lawyer, the next entrepreneur, to invent the next, bring forth the next technology that will benefit the entire nation, that will put us on the map. You know what they're focusing on? How can I get into politics so that I can enrich myself? Because we literally have made it appear as though politics is the only way to become rich overnight. And that's the reason why a lot of these lawbreakers, whom you refer to as lawmakers, consistently do everything to keep the people in abject poverty. The reason why they will not advocate for quality education, because they are afraid that once the people are educated and they can speak for themselves, guess what? They will be challenged. They will think outside the box, and they will hold them accountable. So they will do everything to keep the education system in a deplorable condition. They will do everything to keep the healthcare system in a deplorable condition, so that they and their kids can remain beneficial of the system. And that's the reason why we need to look beyond ourselves and look for reason and solution to provide to these people. There are young men and women who continue to die in the streets from drugs abuse and other things that we are not taking into consideration. You have an entire Senate to sit and appeal on behalf of an individual who went against the law. How in the world can we actually transform Liberia with this kind of mentality? We must start to hold ourselves accountable. And that in itself, like I said, leadership starts with us. We must start to hold ourselves accountable, and we must continue to push forward to make sure that Liberia is bigger than an individual. No one of us here, not a single one of us here, is better than the entire nation of 5 million poor people who are dearly asking every day that we come on here and make sure that we can speak for the people, with the people, and make sure that the hidden information is brought forth. So we can't take these things for joke. We can't allow people to come out here and use this very platform to try to project themselves and distort the information. So in closing, I just want to say we have a hell of a lot of work to do. There's a lot that we need to do, and we encourage a lot of young people to not simply sit on the side, but join. Your voice is just as important as anybody else. Your lawmaker. So do the best you can. The best you can.
All right, guys. Good show.
Cool,
guys.
man.
Good rest.
No, I spoke already. Thank you, man.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Take care, bro. Go on, Henry.
The time is exactly 8 minutes down 12 o'clock here in Liberia. Let me say many thanks to the panelists. Let me say many thanks to the team that are Hot FM 107.9 for relaying this program, and the team that are 2FM 96.1 in Nima County, Sacramento, and other affiliated radio stations. Let me say many thanks to you for your listening role, more specifically our online viewers. Let me say many thanks to you. And those of you that follow via the radio, let me say many thanks. We'll catch you when we catch you. That's going to be on Wednesday, at which time we're going to be at same time, same station. I've been here. My name is Henry Jada for on behalf of the team. I say bye-bye from my end. We'll catch you when we catch you.
You walk, start bad. You walk, what you do. I got no time.